1800s from the Knotford racetrack to what it is today, a city built within a city. Business, recreation or both, take your pick. And what a time to be here at this venue, the Ligani Club, which is hosting the 37th Caribbean Senior Squash Championships. It's day number 2 of the region's premier squash event. Close to 90 players from 7 countries, first vying for individual glory before the team competitions take center stage later this week. History makers, history chasers, one more chance for many of these men and women to prove themselves the best in the Caribbean. It's semi-final day and we will begin action with the women's semi-finals. Let's have a look at how they have made it to this stage. The top seed, Ashley Khalil, she has been impressive, hasn't dropped a game to this point, neither has Akila Wiltshire, who she'll play tonight. Taylor Fernandes of Guyana has probably been most impressive, and Ashley DeGroot, the number 2 seed, well, she had a tough opening round match, but she's here and with a shot at making the championship match. Well, let's hear from the top seed then, Ashley Khalil, who we spoke to after her straight game victory earlier today over Marie-Claire Bacant of Trinidad and Tobago, and we asked her how it feels to be back in another semi-final.
It's always a great accomplishment to make it to the semi-finals. Knowing you're one of the best in the Caribbean is always an honor. I would say this is about my 3rd semi-finals, but most of the times I lucked out in the semis, so I'm hoping to make a change this year.
This time around, you are the top seed going into that semi-final. You will play Akila Wilshire, your teammate. How are you looking forward to that one? I
am looking forward. It's always tough playing your teammates because they know your strengths, they know your weaknesses, but it will be exciting. Yeah.
And you're number 1 seed for the first time. How have you been able to handle that pressure coming in?
It is a lot of pressure, especially because you expected, but I kind of just take it off and be like, it's just a local tournament, just go play your best and do the best you can do. No pressure.
No pressure, she says, as she gets ready to try and win her first Caribbean title, the number 1 seed, Ashley Khalil. Ricardo Chambers alongside Sean Simpson, the 11-time Barbados champion, and Tajay Lumley, national representative. Let's talk about this young lady, Ashley Khalil. She's been impressive leading into this semi-final.
Hey, good night. Yeah, she has had a good tournament so far, and she is heavily favored in this semi-final match. But I expect it to be a evenly contested first game, and then we see how it goes from there.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you, Sean. Yeah, I believe Ashley has been very impressive this week. To see her go up against her teammate in a few minutes will be an exciting and interesting battle.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, earlier today, a straight game victory for her. She's looked rather focused, I think, throughout this entire campaign. And as she said, she's been to the semi-finals on 3 occasions already, and she will be hoping to get to her first final. Taylor Fernandes of Guyana, interestingly, all semi-finalists on the women's side from Guyana. Really wonderful performances from them. And Taylor Fernandes, who got to the semi-finals in 2019, back here and ready for more.
Yeah, Taylor's an excellent player out of Guyana. Guyana does have a very strong ladies team. They're perennial strong contenders with the women's side. Taylor had a good championships last time, and she's actually just had a baby maybe about a year ago, and she's back playing squash and looking just as good as ever.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Sean. When a lot of persons heard that Taylor was going to have a baby, they were very concerned about her coming back to play squash. But here she is. She's shown that she's not been knocked off her feet, and she's back again playing the semifinals of the Caribbean Championships. Impressive.
Yeah, the 24-year-old from Georgetown, not seated in the top 4 here. Surprised?
I'm not really surprised, but at the same time, after taking a little bit of a break and what CASA is trying to do in terms of their seedings, you understand the process, and she just come and let her racket talk.
Yeah, the 24-year-old from Georgetown, and she's into the semi-finals. No one has gotten more than 3 points from her in her 2 matches so far. She plays Ashley de Groot, the number 2 seed in semi-final 2, coming up later on. Well, men's semi-finals also on tonight. At the top of that list, Chris Binnie, 9 Caribbean titles. He's looking for a 10th, and he's made comfortable progress to this stage. Tonight he plays Alex Arjoon of Guyana, Julian Jervis of the Cayman Islands, coming off a successful Commonwealth Games in many ways, and Cumberbatch of Barbados. Well, this sport runs in his family, and he will be looking to bring another title, but so will Chris Binnie. Let's hear from him, because we spoke to him after his quarterfinal earlier today, and we asked him if it's difficult to deal with remaining focused, especially after you've won this 9 times.
I don't think it's very difficult. I mean, every tournament you got to, it's a job to start with, right? So you show up, you prepare the same way, you do all the things that you need to do to get ready, and then you hope that when it's time to play, you perform like that's how you should. So not super difficult, especially more so this one being at home, in Jamaica. Like, I haven't played a tournament of this level in Jamaica in recent memory, so I'm very, very excited.
2 matches out the way for you. How would you assess your level of play so far?
Yeah, good. Last night was good to just get the tournament going. It was a good match this morning. It was a pretty tough match. The scoreline may not look like it, but he's a very, very good player. And I ended up being on the winning end of most of the rallies. So, but otherwise, he pushed me this morning, which was a great test. And then I'm looking forward, and I feel sharp for tonight. So I'm excited.
Yeah, another semi-final for you. I mean, you're clearly very much used to be in these positions, semi-finals and finals, of course. As you get to the latter stage of this tournament, does the pressure begin to build, especially because you're at home and this is massive for everybody in Jamaica?
I mean, I guess I would be lying to myself if I said it wasn't. But again, I've been doing this for a long time, so I would like to think that all of the stuff I've done for the last, 20 years of my life, plus like 8 years on the tour, that I would know what to do to prepare for each match and deal with the pressure. So I have the same routine. I've worked with sports psychologists before. I've worked with a lot of coaches before. So I'm looking forward to tonight, and I'm just hoping I can fly the flag high.
Do you ever think about what you're trying to achieve here? First player to win 10 titles, to reach double figures?
Sometimes. I mean, obviously, I guess it.
Yeah, Chris Binnie, 11-4, 11-4, 11-0 over Chase McQuan earlier today in his quarterfinal match as he gets ready for his semi-final. What makes this 33-year-old so good?
Chris has had a few years on the tour, and I think that's what makes a big difference with in comparison to the other players at the moment. If you look at this year's draw, the only other player that has really been playing at a high or consistently high level will be the number 2 seed Cumberbatch from Barbados, because he's at the University of he's at Trinity College, and they have a high caliber of players within their team. The other players are just mainly based in their own countries or in the US and playing local players there, whereas Chris has that professional level.
He plays Alex Arjoon tonight. Does he have a chance, Arjoon?
Yeah, I think Arjoon brings a very good contrast to the match tonight up against Chris Binnie. He's the left-hander. Played a rough battle this morning against Sean Simpson, and it wasn't an easy battle, but yeah, I'm thinking that he will have his chances in the match against Chris, so hopefully we'll have a very good battle on our hands here.
Yeah, it might be a tough moment for my co-commentator Sean. Looking at that match earlier on, you definitely had your chances in that one. What is good about the way that Arjoon plays?
Arjoon is very disciplined in his approach on court, and he's a tough nut to crack on that because he's so disciplined. As I talked to him after the match, he just said his whole idea was just holding on to the wheel, even if everything else was starting to fall off. And I think leading into this match. I think, as Taj said, it's going to be very important for him to stick in there, hold on to the wheel, because Chris will be throwing everything at him. But I believe the level of squash will be quite good tonight.
Yeah, the crowd building here for the semi-finals. Quickly, Kamal Cumberbatch, a lot has been said about him. There are those who believe that he could be the Caribbean successor to Chris Binnie. The question is it at this tournament or is that the future?
Well, I would like to think that it could be no. Kamal is young. He's extremely talented. He's a natural of the game. CASA and squash runs in his family. He's playing very good squash. He actually went to he's now going to the same college that Chris went to, Trinity College in Hartford. So yeah, I'm hoping that this could be his moment to shine.
Well, we'll see him later on in the semi-finals of the men's event. It's been 3 years since we've last had the Caribbean Area Senior Squash Championships. It's back on the calendar, and one man who is delighted that it is the president of CASA, Raman Chanesu.
Oh, it's amazing. You can't believe the relief of having this event back on the calendar after a 3-year absence. It's so important to the squash community around the Caribbean, and it's great to have it on the calendar. We had Junior CASA earlier this year in Guyana, and that was an exceptional success. And we're happy to be in Jamaica for Senior CASA. It's been a long time coming, and a lot of meetings, a lot of hopes over the last 3 years, delays. It was on, it was off, it's on, it's off. So it's great to be actually here playing.
Of course, you took over as CASA president in 2019, just before the last tournament. So you've had to lead the regional body through a difficult period, COVID-19. How has that period been? How difficult has it been?
Well, it's been a challenge. I can't say it was easy because there were a lot of disappointments. We kept trying to host at the end of 2020. We were hoping in the middle of 2021, hoping in the end of 2021, and there was a lot of bumps in the road. And but in the end, all the territories worked together to come up with a solution, and this is the result. So we're here now.
Yeah, we're definitely here, yeah. And of course you're also coach of the Guyana team, and you guys look really good as far as the overall team title is concerned, but individually as well, some fantastic players, especially on the women's side. It must really be a pleasure coaching all these wonderful players.
Yes, it is. I've been lucky to have been coaching these guys for about 10 years now as the senior team coach, and we've traveled to many events, so I have a few many of them are very experienced, and I have a few youngsters in the team now to blend in, so it's a nice mixture, and I got to say, they keep me young and on my toes.
You look especially strong on the women's side, of course, the top seed, Khalil and Wiltshire, they will play in one semi-final, but you look really strong on the women's side.
Yes, we've been lucky in, and this is all part of our junior development. 10 years ago, our female juniors were the ones that carried us to the overall titles at junior level, and now they're just transferred it to the senior ranks. Not to say that our boys and men aren't that good, but our women have been exceptionally strong for the last 10 years.
Well, we're building up to the semi-finals here at the Caribbean Area Squash Championships at the Ligony Club in Kingston, Jamaica. When we come back, the women will take the court for semi-final 1. Women's semi-final 1 coming up here at the Senior Caribbean Squash Championships at the Ligoni Club in Kingston, Jamaica. Ashley Khalil, the number 1 seed, will be taking on Akila Wiltshire, both players from Guyana. And in case you haven't realized by now, all 4 semi-finalists on the women's side from Guyana. They have had an outstanding tournament. Alongside me for this first match, Marlene West, depending on who you ask, a 4 or 5-time Caribbean singles champion, and Tajay Lumley, the Jamaican representative, alongside me as well. Marlene, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. I was about 9 or 10 years old when I heard about you for the first time. You were probably playing Karen Anderson in likely a Jamaica national championship, and seems a long time ago, and here you are. How are you?
Well, you've just alluded to how long ago that was when you said your age. So, no, I'm happy to be here. And yes, Karen and I have had many battles over the years, and it's just great to still be a part of Caribbean squash.
Absolutely amazing. The players getting ready for this semi-final. To the left of your screen, the number 1 seed, Ashley Khalil, 29 years old now, from Georgetown. As she pointed out in that interview earlier, she's been to the semi-finals 3 times. And there is Akila Wiltshire, her Guyanese teammate, making her way inside the court. The 25-year-old, a medical student at the University of the West Indies. And both players getting ready for this semi-final. Marlene, how do you see this one?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, Ashley has had tremendous experience playing at this level for a little while. In fact, she's coming off of Birmingham at the Commonwealth Games, where she had some really good matches. Akila, she's kind of like the dark horse coming through, because she wasn't seeded, and she's played very well to be in the semi-finals here. So I think Ashley will be gone into, maybe get herself into that final, as she was in the semi-final last CASA, and Akila has nothing to lose.
Well, the play Ashley Khalil, as you pointed out, did compete at the Commonwealth Games. Ranked at 340 in the world, so she's coming into this championship with quality matches under her belt, and that has to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't at the Commonwealth Games, but I saw the scores from that match, and she's an extremely great competitor, extremely athletic, and her brother as well, and Jason, who plays squash extremely well. They have a very good base out of Guyana. Those girls train very hard, and they take their game very seriously.
The pressure, Marlene, of being the number 1 seed, she would not have felt this pressure before at a Caribbean championship. As a player, how do you deal with that?
I think at that level, and especially when you are expected to perhaps maybe reach the finals, it's more of a mental game, and I think you just have to have faith in the preparation that you have, and or you've had, and you stick to a game plan. You know what your game plan is before, and you stick to it, and you just kind of black out the white noise.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity for these 2 young ladies to try and reach a first Caribbean Senior Squash Championship final. Of course, so many big names that we've become accustomed to in Caribbean women's squash not here. Nicolette Fernandes, along with Karen Meakin, who are both at the World Masters Championships. Amanda Haywood, who represented Barbados at the Commonwealth Games, not here as well. There's also Mary Fungi Fat, who was at the Commonwealth Games as well. She too not here, got to the plate final at the Commonwealth Games. Megan Best, who got to the final in 2019. So a lot of quality female players not here at the Caribbean Championships this year, but it provides a marvelous opportunity for these players to step up and get a first title.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of persons were probably disappointed that there was no Nicolette, there was no Marlene, sorry, not Marlene, there was no Amanda Haywood, and there were no Mary Fungafat. But yeah, it's a great opportunity for these girls to take on the mantle and just go for it in this tournament, and I'm sure they will take the opportunity and run with it.
Yeah, they'll certainly be looking to do that. Douglas Bedford, the match referee from Jamaica, and he gets ready as we get ready for this first semi-final. Of course, Marlene, you've been here on so many occasions playing in these matches. You, but a semi-final versus a final, I know there are so many players, once they get to the final there is greater relaxation, and sometimes a semi-final can be that tougher match. What was it like for you?
I think, no, you're quite right, and thankfully I've been in sports a lot, and I was a swimmer before I actually played squash, so I was used to competing, and it's very similar. In some swim events you do have your prelims and then your finals, and where you have to, if you don't swim fast enough in the prelims you won't reach your final. So the semi-final I found was very much like that. You have to make that performance, and then the finals is your last push. You give everything that you have, you kind of just empty the bucket there, and usually you're more successful that way.
Yeah, for sure. So we get ready for this first semi-final. Ashley Khalil and Akila Wilshire, both from Guyana. All four semi-finalists from Guyana. Taylor Fernandes and Ashley DeGroot to come in semi-final 2 as we close in on the start of this one. The support has been quite good for the tournament so far, of course. It's just fantastic to have squash back at this level in the Caribbean, and I'm pretty sure it means a lot to the squash fraternity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last night we had our run of 16 matches, and it was day one of the tournament, and it was absolutely crowded. It was full of people and local support for the Jamaicans, but I'm very excited to see the support come out for the Guyanese as well in this tournament.
Yeah, you're very much right. I was here last night. Actually caught your match, Taj, round of 16, and it was a rather compelling affair. Unfortunately, the fact that you're here means that you were unable to pull it off.
Absolutely.
But it was a terrific match.
Yes, it was a very, very exciting battle. It's just exciting to be back out playing competitive squash again. I think this is safe to say that this was my first real championship since 2019 after the World Team Championships in Washington, D.C. But
just blank the crowd out completely. I don't look in the crowd. I don't interact and in the little fish bowls, if you want to, for a better word. But I think Taj might be one that actually thrives off the audience and gets his confidence boosts from all the cheering.
Well, yeah, last night I definitely needed that home support. I was fully out there enjoying it. It kind of pumped me to come back after being 2-love down, actually. But didn't get the results I was looking for. But as Marge said, sometimes you're playing at home, but it's not only at home. Like sometimes you'll be playing matches and you're so into the match, you're not really focused on what's happening outside. It's just like one of my students came to me and he was like, "Hey, I was in the crowd supporting you." I was like, "Oh, thank you," but I didn't see you. But yeah, sometimes it's like that.
Yeah, definitely like that as we get ready for semi-final 1 Caribbean Area Squash Championships for 2022. It's the number 1 seed Ashley Khalil up against Akila Wilshire.
Because I find that they always have a great command of the game, especially racket sports. Is that right, Sean?
A good feel to the game. I, for one, play a left-hander very often. which is Bruce Barnes here in Jamaica, which is absolutely great because not many left-handers that you have playing squash.
Yeah, I love the drop shot there from Wiltshire to level the match at 1-all.
Turn on.
It seems that Akila is trying to dust off a little bit of nerves there for a little bit. It's, you know, in matches like this, I find it's best to try and get your rhythm, and one way I used to do that is just to silently say to myself, focus on the ball, focus on the ball, focus on the ball, and that tend to keep the unforced errors that you're seeing here right now away.
Yeah, and it could take you a few minutes or to get into a match. But also a match like a semi-final, you want to try and get out there firing, but also to try and get some lengthy rallies, build on it, and see if you can try and take the first game, because that first game is extremely important.
It is a big occasion for these players. Spoke about the number of regulars in Caribbean Championship, last 4 matchups who would not be here, and so these girls get a wonderful opportunity, and they would know a lot about each other as well. They're both from Guyana. Surely they would have played each other on a number of occasions.
Well, to be fair, I'm not sure how long Akila has been back home. She was actually here in Jamaica for med school, so I know she played here quite a bit, as much as her academics would allow her to play, because med school is quite arduous. But so she was playing here for better part of the last 4 years. So.
Yeah, she literally just left, I think, early July to go back to school to Guyana after completing about 5 or 5.5 years here in Jamaica, both doing med school and working.
Her sister Larissa, a top quality player as well.
Yes, graduated dental school as well, and now is back in Guyana working.
Yes, sir.
So is her brother as well. Her young brother is I think he's won all age groups at the junior level at CASA, which is pretty impressive if you ask me.
That Shamari
Wiltshire, yes.
Yeah, would have been, I think, a possible semi-finalist in the men's event had he actually taken part. I gather he's here for the team event. Did win the Guyana Nationals earlier this year.
Yeah, he's participated in the World Junior Championships in France.
Khalil opening up a 3-point advantage here amid a slew of unforced errors really coming from both players in this opening game, but it's the number 1 seed who has taken the early advantage.
I think here you could see that, from the scoreline, they're both feeling each other out. Because well, to me, it's obvious they haven't played each other very often. So you always have that, I guess, that dating period where you're feeling your opponent out and trying to figure out their weaknesses.
But also from experience, I've also realized that Akila is not always the fastest starter in matches. So she will try and do her best to try and work it out. But also Akila is a massive technician when it comes on to sorting out matches and seeing what she needs to do when it comes on to strategizing and winning.
She has some work to do to get back into this opening game.
Yes, lad.
Oh, that's an interesting call. I thought for sure that might have been a stroke. But hey, referees can be generous as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I thought the line through the ball was to Akila actually, but she got away with that.
Yeah, in a minute our analysts will explain the difference between a stroke and a let.
There we go. That was actually one of the better rallies that they've had since the start of the match. I think the nerves might be settling down, and they're getting into some longer rallies now.
Yeah, that shot that she actually played, Akila, she loves to use the lob and drop game. If you realize, she will float that ball up, wait for the loose ball to come in, and then she'll put the ball in short. So it's very hard for you to read it, and that shot is extremely high. It gives her a lot of air time to get up there and play that drop if you play a loose ball.
Unfortunately, that followed up with another unforced error though, and when she looks back at this opening set, she'll think to herself, a couple of critical points. She wasn't able to produce her best.
Yes, lad.
Yeah, and it's always hard when you start off a match and you lose the first game by making 4 or 5 unforced errors of 11 points to your opponent. That's pretty hard, and that's tough. I mean, sometimes you see a score line and you think that your opponent earned all the points, but sometimes it's very much so from unforced errors.
Oh, there's a lovely dropper coming from Ashley Khalil. The number 1 seed takes the opening set here in semi-final 1 of the Caribbean Area Squash Championships at the Ligani Club.
Yeah, that last drop shot, or I should say that the last 2 rallies, I would say, shows that, you know, Ashley is settling down and finding her groove. And, you know, if Akila doesn't make any changes right now, I think Ashley might just run away with it.
End of the opening set, 11-6 to the top seed, Ashley Khalil of Guyana.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley Khalil there winning the opening set of semi-final 1 here at the Caribbean Area Senior Squash Championships. The women's semi-final taking center stage before we get to the men's semi-finals later on, and there is the top seed Ashley Khalil taking on her Guyanese teammate Akila Wilshire, but the 29-year-old with the experience of being in these big semi-finals, 3 before the 2022 championships, and she did what she needed to do to take the opening set, limiting her unforced errors, coming up with a couple quality shots towards the end as well. And Akila Wilshire will need to clean her game up if she is to level this match.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely. I think, I mean, once Akila takes those unforced errors out, I think she'll be in it, because she is actually moving Ashley around quite well. So, you know, it's just trying to stay consistent and keep that ball above the tin.
Akila Wilshire in the green top.
Forcing another unforced error, and that's the thing. Ashley will be as patient as she possibly can and stay out there and win the points of unforced errors if she can. But I'm sure, I can certainly hear that she will slot a few good winners out there into the neck if she can.
There's one.
Yes, I think, Akila's, you know, she's definitely come out with some guns blaring there. She's picked up the pace and she's, you know, hitting the ball quite hard. Forcing, I should say, Ashley just to be defensive right now.
Yeah, she's basically forcing her on the back leg to play and pop that ball up so she can basically tee off on it. And I'm sure once she starts getting the results, you will see her use that lob and drop technique that she uses ever so often to beat a lot of players that she gets on court with.
Not only did she compete at the Commonwealth Games, the top seed Ashley Khalil, but she also played the Pan American Team Championships earlier this year, played 3 singles matches there, did manage to get 1 win, had a couple of defeats, but once again, when you play at the higher level, those matches matter when you get into a match like the semi-finals of the Caribbean Championships, and it's showing
Absolutely. Every tournament you play, it's experience. So, and especially if you're playing against better players, it's just it's armor. You're putting it in your body armor there to then release.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you can see in that rally just now, an advantage to being a left-hander is playing on someone's forehand. And what happens in squash, you're using so many angles that Akila just whipped that both in just now, and Ashley had no idea about it. But there goes Ashley did the same thing. Touché.
I think Ashley is doing a good job of moving Akila back and front because she recognizes that there might be a weakness there, and that's all part of playing tournaments and getting that experience as well. It's not just one way that you can be effective.
Well, stroke called on this occasion as opposed to the last occasion when it was lit. I think it's your time to explain to us the difference.
So you will, if you feel you've been impeded, or if you feel you're going to actually cause harm, because you do have like a weapon in your hand, it's a racket. So you ask for a let, and the referee's decision is based on whether he feels that your opponent created that interference, or you're just being safe. If it is that he feels the opponent created the interference, then he will award the point, which is what's called a stroke. If it is that he feels that you were being saved, or you're maybe just playing on the side of on the side of caution, then he'll replay the point, which would be a let.
Wilshire has to be careful here. She's down 7-3 in this second game, and Khalil growing in confidence in this semi-final. And there's a good shot that gives her a chance in this second game.
Yeah, but if you realize at 6-3 when Ashley won the point, what was awarded to Wiltshire was a no-let, and viewers may be asking what a no-let is. So essentially it is when you've hit the ball, or your opponent have hit the ball, and you try to go to the ball and there was no interference at all, and it was just a good shot, and you should have gone and make effort to get the ball and not get it, they will award you a no-let.
Well, there's another good shot. So either quality shots coming from the racket of Wilshire or unforced errors. It's about putting it all together now as she tries to rally and get back into the second game and into the match.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she can do it, and the key thing if she wants to get into this match is really to hang in this game and see how best she can stay out there and fight for the match.
It does seem that Ashley has found another gear though, because she's actually now up the pace of the game as well. Maybe recognizing that Akila, even though she is a hard hitter, she probably doesn't move as well for those hard balls.
Game ball coming up here for the second game.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much unforced errors coming off the racket of Wiltshire, and hopefully if she does lose or win this game, she can come back in the third with a more positive attitude when it comes out to striking the ball.
Still fighting. Both these players came into the semi-final having not dropped a game previously, and so Wilshire would have dropped her first game of the tournament, and she is heading to drop another match ball in favor of Khalil here.
It's important to note in squash you do not have to serve to win that point. So it seems that there we go. Ashley just put that away. It was a really nice deep cross court into the back of the court, and she just put it away nicely.
Put it away nicely. 11-6, 11-6. She's up by 2 games to love. The number 1 seed on the women's side here at the Caribbean Squash Championship, large and in charge. 1 game away from her first championship final. Ashley Khalil is one game away from her first Caribbean Area Senior Squash Championship final. 11-6, 11-6. The first two games over Akila Wilshire. You're watching women's semi-final action here on your home of champions. The first semi-final with Khalil and Wilshire. Taylor Fernandes and Ashley DeGroot to play in the second semi-final. All four semi-finalists on the women's side from Guyana, and right now it's Ashley Khalil who is large and in charge.
Coached by her brother, and it's something in the Caribbean that is great with Caribbean squash. It's really a family affair. You have lots of siblings, you have moms and dads, or you have parents and their kids, that are actually either playing on the same team or just came through Caribbean squash together, and I think that's one thing that really separates Caribbean squash to a lot of the other tournaments that you might be around or you might witness.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great thing. There are quite a number of families. I mean, you for one, Mars, you and your dad played squash quite a number of times together, and through family has grasped the game. You see that a lot across the Caribbean for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, coming up next is Taylor Fernandes, who her cousin Nicolette has won quite a few tournaments and has been as top 15 in the world, and that's impressive. So it continues, and Ashley and her brother, I'm sure, has an immaculate relationship with each other. And if you noticed at the Commonwealth Games, they did play the mixed doubles together for Guyana, so that's absolutely great to see coming from Ashley.
Yeah, that's there. Ashley just moving the ball. It's almost like chess pieces there, or playing chess a while ago.
Yes, exactly.
Moving Akila around with the on court, with her shots. So it's obvious that Ashley is becoming comfortable and relaxing and really thinking about moving that ball around or moving Akila around the court a lot more now.
There's absolutely no doubt as to who the better player is now.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would love to know what Akila's game plan is, being 2-love down or at hand first on going into the match, because as you can see, if I could count, I'm sure during the entire match just now she's hit quite a few unforced errors, and you'd think that if it's not working or one thing is not working, you'd try to change something and go to a different game plan.
Yeah, she's also missing a lot of those attempted drop shots.
Yes. I think, typically drop shots are viewed as winning shots. I often think of them as working shots more so than winning shots. And I think in her mind, well, from what I'm seeing here, she's trying to use them as winning shots to maybe finish the rallies. And then, so what happens then is that you just put a higher percentage on the shot you're playing. And you make the unforced errors as a result.
Yeah, she's a shot maker, there's no doubt about it. There's another one, but shot makers usually pile up the unforced errors, and when you have a player who is as patient as Ashley Khalil is being at the moment, they matter at the end of the day.
Yes.
And there you have it, she's just putting the ball in good spaces and waiting for Akila to hit that one loose ball. She's not playing the winners off the drop shot, but as Mars says, she's using the drop as a working shot, and it's good enough to put Akila in an uncomfortable position to force an unforced error.
I think what we're seeing here now too is, with the length of time of the match, Akila is getting tired, so she is actually making more unforced errors, especially with her volleys now, which was something that was working for her earlier.
I was just about to ask about her fitness level, because it seems to me that she is suffering now. She's not moving with the type of agility that we saw at the beginning of the match, and she looks visibly, at least to me, to be laboring a little bit.
Yeah, no, most definitely it is. I think it's starting to wear her down, and that just speaks to Ashley's game plan. She's been moving her around the court, moving her back, moving her forward, and that's now starting to tell.
And yeah, it's always, if you're watching in TV land, and squash is tough, and when you go in and you make those lunges and those hard steps every single time you go in to play the ball. It builds up and it adds up, and after a while it eats into the legs.
She's finally gotten the dropper right, and she's back in the third game here as she tries to stay alive in this semi-final. Akila Wilshire in green, but there's another unforced error.
Yeah. I think she's really trying to, finish these points early because she recognizes that, her fitness is not where she would like it to be. But Ashley is just being very patient.
But perhaps you would think that, hey, I'm 2 love down, and I would like to just hang in there as best as possible to try and not make any unforced errors and see where she can try and win points by not making unforced errors.
It's so difficult when your fitness is not there, though, because when you're not physically fit, it also plays on the mental.
Absolutely, it's called oxygen deficiency. you don't think much anymore. You just, react almost.
Yeah. Nothing deficient about that last shot from Akila Wilshire, and she stays close enough to still believe that she has a shot at pulling a game back at least in this semi-final.
And here you go with another unforced error. I was just about to say, if I think she could just clinch a 7-0 headline in the score, she would probably give herself a little bit more confidence that, hey, I could hang in for probably 2 or 3 more shots and then try and see how best she can get in, because I would love to see if Wilshire could win this third game, how the match will unfold in the end.
Yeah, let call. There's also that thing called scoreboard pressure, especially in a big occasion like this. It's a semi-final. Ashley Khalil has dreamt for a long time of being in a situation like this where she can get to a championship match. She has lost in 3 semi-finals before, and you just have to wonder, if you put scoreboard pressure on her, get close in this third game, will she feel the pressure? Will she get nervous in any way? But at the moment, it's cruise control.
Yes, for Ashley. And you can see, Ashley's shots are not necessarily in the nick, or they're not, complete winning shots. She's literally playing the shots to move Akila around, and I think she's banking on Akila to keep playing those unforced errors.
Yeah, absolutely. She's not forcing anything. She's literally waiting for her chances, putting the ball in good spaces on the court, and hoping. And literally, she's not necessarily hoping, but she's also feeding off the unforced errors from Wilshire. And here she brings 4 match balls for a place in tomorrow's finals.
The 29-year-old from Georgetown serves for a spot in the final.
Good shot.
That's a very nice shot.
It's a lovely straightened ball.
Yes.
She didn't hit the tin. She didn't go for the marginal drop shot up just above the tin. She played a very good attacking drive off the return to serve, and that sets up a winning shot.
And that's exactly what she needed to have been doing, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. But 2 shades. It's a lot for her to take on.
Brilliant way to finish it. Ashley Khalil of Guyana is finally a Caribbean squash championship finalist. She defeats Akila Wilshire, her countrywoman, in straight games, 11-6, 11-6, 11-7. And we saw some spanking shots from Akila Wilshire, but at the end of it all, the unforced errors piled up, and it is her countrywoman, Ashley Khalil, the number 1 seed, who is moving through to the championship match on Tuesday evening. That match will also be live on your home of champions, SportsMax. She can't smile at Akila Wilshire because I think she knows she was beaten by a better player tonight. Semi-final 1 out the way. We'll be hearing from the players shortly. confirming the final scores for the first semi-final here at the Caribbean Squash Championships. On the women's side, Ashley Khalil coming away with an 11-6, 11-6, 11-7 victory over Akila Wilshire. And now I'm with Akila Wilshire. Akila, first of all, talk to me about that performance. A lot of unforced errors from what we saw. How would you assess it?
That is true. I did make a lot of unforced errors. I knew that I've played her before and she's very talented, and so I knew I had to come out strong. So I was trying to go attacking into the play, but unfortunately a lot of enforced errors once I was trying to, do a lot of drives, but, it all comes down to like who's a better player on that day, so congratulations to her.
How are you feeling towards the end of the match? Because in many ways looked as if you might have been laboring a little bit.
I think coming down to the end, I was a bit tired. I mean, I'm only now coming back. I was kind of off playing for a while, and only recently I started playing again. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy with my performance. I mean, I was trying to put in the work the last few weeks, so I mean, I think I did well coming off fresh, but I have to say she did well and have to congrats for her.
You graduated with your medical degree not long ago, and you're a Caribbean Championship semi-finalist. I think you could say you've had a pretty good last 12 months.
Yeah, I think I did well. I know I have to put more work into it. Try and reduce unforced errors, practice like my drives, work on some boasts. But yeah, I think I did well overall, so I can't complain. I really put my best effort.
Yeah, well, congratulations on getting to the semi-finals of the women's event here at the Caribbean Area Squash Championships. Akila Wilshire, her countrywoman, the number 1 seed, Ashley Khalil, now stepping forward. Ashley, finally, you've made it to a Caribbean Championship final.
Yes.
How does it feel?
Feels amazing. It was tough. Always playing one of our Guyanese girls is always tough because I say we play so often at home. She knows my strengths, I know her strengths, she knows my weaknesses, vice versa. So, but I'm so happy to pull off the win and make my first final.
11-6, 11-6, 11-7. What would you say was the difference tonight for you?
So I tried to keep my composure during every point, just focus on the point ahead, leave whatever mistake I left in the previous point behind, and keep working my way up, and that was able to give me the win tonight.
She was making quite a number of unforced errors, a lot of quality shots, a few winners, but many unforced errors as well. What was your thinking and approach as you kind of went through that match?
So I just, as I said, I was trying to focus on every point, and for every point just keep the pressure as high as possible. So she would give me unforced errors, and I think that pulled the through for me.
One more semi-final to come, 2 more Guyanese females to come, which means you'll definitely be playing another Guyanese in the final. You can tell me nobody else will hear. Who would you prefer to play?
It doesn't matter. I've played both of them. I've always, as I said, they've both been my doubles partners. I'm currently playing doubles with Ashley, and I previously played doubles in the last competition with Taylor, so either one is going to be tough.
Well, congratulations on getting through to the final. It's been a long time in coming, but at 29 years old, you've finally gotten to the championship match.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, there you have it. Ashley Khalil, the winner of semi-final 1 in the women's category here at the Caribbean Senior Squash Championships. Semi-final 2 is coming up. 2 more Guyanese ladies getting ready to do battle. Stay with us on your home of champions. will beat her countrywoman Akila Wilshire in semi-final one of the women's singles here at the Caribbean Area Squash Championships. We are getting ready for semi-final number 2. Taylor Fernandes and Ashley de Groot, once again, both from Guyana. We are at the Ligani Club in New Kingston, Jamaica, and of course we have changed the analyst team for this second semi-final. Sean Simpson, who you heard from in our pre-game show, he's back with us, and Chase Akwan is also with us as well. Chase, first of all, let me start with you. How are you doing before we even start talking about this women's semi-final? You unfortunately had to play Chris Binnie in the men's quarterfinals earlier today. Just a quick word on how tough that was.
I agree. It was tough playing the number 1 seed and 9-time Caribbean champion. You know, him vying for his 10th. I know he wanted that to round it off to a proper 10 this year. So I know it was an uphill battle from the start. I took it in stride. You know, I just went out there with the game plan to stay in as best as possible. I know his experience is extensive, and you know, I just was trying to stay positive.
All right, well, let's get ready for this women's second semi-final. And now Ashley de Groot, the number 2 seed coming into this tournament, Sean, and we've already seen the number 1 seed go through, and she will want to uphold the seedings going into the final.
Yes, Ashley would love to be able to make her first CASA final. Being the number 2 seed, you want to make sure that you honor your seeding at least. And you know, playing Taylor tonight is going to be, I believe, will be a battle of nerves in this first game. And you know, you want to go out there and try to get it out as quickly as possible.
Taylor Fernandes, this occasion not new to her. She was in the semi-final in 2019, and surely that experience has to be of value coming into this semi-final.
Definitely.
Yeah, Taylor is going to have that experience under her belt, and she may be the more calmer of the two, but after being off for a little while, you never know how this experience or this occasion will be different from the others.
Yeah, 24 years old now, Taylor Fernandes of Guyana, a mother from Georgetown. She has been super impressive coming through the rounds here at this CASA tournament. No player has gotten past 4 or 3 points in any of her games so far. She's been really impressive.
Yeah, Taylor's been impressive. I think, you know, she's a very steady player. She's a very tall player as well, so she can use her reach to devastate any effect, and she's done so right up to the semi-final stage.
Yeah, there's a confidence and ease about which she moves around the court as well.
Yeah. She's a Fernandes, as a matter of fact. You know, her family member Nicolette Fernandes is a well-decorated world-class player, reaching heights of top 20 in the world. So I guess it runs in the genes.
For sure, ranked as high as 15 in the world. Nicolette Fernandes, as we pointed out earlier in our broadcast, missing the Caribbean Championships this year because she is competing at the World Masters Championship. So many of the female names that we would have become accustomed to over the years in Caribbean squash not here, like Nicolette Fernandes, like Mary Fongifat, like Megan Best from Barbados, Karen Meakin as well, Amanda Haywood, who was at the Commonwealth Games for Barbados. So many quality women who you would expect to be in the closing stages of a tournament like this, not here. But as we pointed out earlier, what an opportunity for these young ladies to get through to a final and challenge for the title.
Yes, for sure. As you mentioned, Ashley, Khalil, and Taylor are former semi-finalists, but you know they have an opportunity to make it to the final, make their first final. Yes, we have had a few of the bigger names missing, especially the defending champion Nicolette Fernandes, and the last finalist Megan Best, and she was also a 2-time champion before succumbing to Nicolette last time. And you know, as you said, this is a perfect opportunity for somebody to etch their names into the history books.
Yeah, and speaking about Nicolette Fernandes, just to show you a little bit of her quality, we spoke about her being ranked top 15 in the world. She did win the Guyana Nationals earlier this year, beating some of the younger players, but then she also played in the men's division and finished 5th in the men's division at the Guyana Nationals. Must be something. I don't know if you've ever had women playing in the men's Barbados Nationals or men's Trinidad and Tobago Nationals.
I could tell you for a fact we've never had women play in the Nationals, but Karen Meekins at one point played in the Barbados Open in the men's competition, maybe 1 or 2 years, just to give herself a bit more competition leading into senior CASA. Especially in those days, she was going up against Nicolette, and she needed a little bit more of a tougher match to prepare for those championships.
The voice there of Sean Simpson, an 11-time Barbados national champion, did get to the quarterfinals of the men's event at this Caribbean Championships. Of course, losing earlier today at the quarterfinal stage, a match in which he had opportunities, but we don't want to talk too much about that. He keeps saying it's fine. By the way, viewers, Sean is 38 years old and he looks like about 21. Unbelievable.
It's not blowing you up on broadcast here.
He's all of 38 years old. Has played volleyball for the Barbados national team as well, and he has the height to do it. So yeah, super talented. Well, I want to say young man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, I've gotten to the semi-final stage at the Senior Caribbean Championships on 5 occasions actually in the past when I was a little bit younger, probably like around Chase's age, you know. But you know, I had an opportunity earlier today. I thought Alex Arjoon played really well, and you know, he took the more critical points at the end of each game, and you know, he played really well. And like you said, you know, I still play volleyball right now. I'm still the captain of the national team, and I think sports is just what keeping me going.
Yeah, double captaincy as we are getting closer to the second semi-final. We saw in the first semi-final where the top seed Ashley Khalil, her consistency, her patience paying off, and Akila Wilshire going for a lot of big shots, made a lot of them but missed a lot of them as well. What are you expecting in terms of the tactical approach in this second semi-final?
I think what Ashley may try to do today against Taylor is to stretch her, go low, then take her up high. Ashley's game isn't too attacking in the sense where she will try to do too much with the ball too early on. So that may be her tactics going into today's match, whereas Taylor will try to cut off as much as possible, use her height, and put Ashley under tremendous pressure, moving left, right, front and back.
The Guyana team, coached by Raman Chanasu, who has tremendous coaching experience right across the world, including in Canada, and has done brilliantly with the Guyana team, especially the female team. All Guyana semi-finals here on the women's side, and we're getting ready for the second one. Nicholas Fernandes, Taylor Fernandes, sorry, yeah, in the purple top. Ashley de Groot in the white top. Semi-final 2 away for an opportunity to join the top seed Ashley Khalil in the championship match. She has pure, beautiful strokes, Taylor Fernandes.
Yep, as you see here, what Taylor is trying to do is establish a good length and move Ashley all around the court. unfortunate error there, but you see the advantage, or I should say the tactics right now is from both ladies will be to feel each other out, establish some length, and go from there.
Oh,
that was a lovely boss nick. What we call nick is where the ball lands in the space between the wall and the flooring.
Couple of unforced errors coming from the racket of Fernandes.
Yeah, you know, she had a couple half opportunities there, and she just swung on them instead of taking her time. But so far, a bit of nerving moments from both athletes so far.
I suppose she's going with a little bit more aggressive play in the beginning, just because she has that time to catch back up, and she's using the opportunity maybe to feel the court out a bit. A little risk in the beginning is never a bad idea, you know?
It's paying off at the moment for her.
Yep, she's establishing her length and forcing a few more errors out of Ashley at this point.
I appreciate the use of the working boast from Taylor. It's proven to be quite effective.
Agreed.
There. It's reversed. We're just commenting on Taylor's use of the working boast, and they actually used it quite effectively.
As I mentioned, you know, one of the things that Ashley's going to have to do is to take Taylor in lower. Given that she's such a taller player, you're going to have to stretch her down low and hope that you can extract a few errors.
Stepping up the pace now of shot, Ashley de Groot, and she's back level in the opening game. But that didn't last long.
Oh, that was a superb drive down the wall from Taylor Fernandes.
And a cross-court nick from Ashley de Groot.
Girls are replying to each other's shots.
5-all.
Exchanging shots here, 5-all in the opening game.
There we go with that working boast again.
Oh, that is a fine shot.
That is a superb drive down the line. Taylor jumped on that early, didn't give Ashley any time to see that shot coming.
Load up.
She has a beautiful, pure swing.
There we go again with that working boast.
Yep, I find the boast is such a nice shot to use in the women's game because what it does is it asks the opponent to make a change in direction, and I find that in the women's game, if you have a really nice boast, it can be a very effective shot.
At some point, you guys will have to explain that for our viewers.
Definitely. This is a crucial part in the game here. A 9-5. If Ashley doesn't make a move right now, this game is pretty much over.
Down.
Hand out 6-9.
That's about 3 unforced errors there with Taylor trying to go hard and low. She just clipped the 10 on each of them.
Going the aggressive route.
Nice lift from Taylor Fernandes to get herself out of trouble and reset the rally.
And finishes beautifully.
A real pepper in the ball.
Game ball for Fernandes to take the early lead. She has the early lead. Taylor Fernandes, semi-finalist in 2019, and she is one step closer to a place in the 2022 final. She wins the opening set over the number 2 seed, Ashley de Groot, by 11 points to 6.
Careful of the laughing in between, because if anything that moves, it goes
Taylor Fernandes leading the number 2 seed Ashley de Groot by 1 game to love in semi-final 2 of the women's squash senior event at the Caribbean Squash Championships at the Ligonier Club in Kingston, Jamaica. And apparently she used the boost to good effect in the opening game, and my analysts Sean Simpson and Chase will explain for me exactly what that is.
Yeah, so the boast in squash is where you're going to use the side wall to hit. You're going to hit the ball onto the side wall before it gets to the front wall, and what that does is it just changes direction for your opponent rather than going straight back down the wall or the customary cross court shot, which is just hitting straight onto the front wall just on the opposite side.
Definitely. I'd like to also add the different types of boasts that you can use, all with the expectation to change the game, change the angles, to change the rhythm of your opponent.
Fernandes with the early lead in the second game, but de Groot comes right back.
Yeah, these girls so far, especially in that first game in the up to the middle point, they're just exchanging points or exchanging shots, which is good for the game so far.
Top shot.
Well executed from Ashley. She exploited the weak shot in the middle of the court. Ooh.
And Taylor, they're trying to use her height to her advantage, but she just missed the front wall, clipped it in.
I don't think she might mind that as much, since she's really pushing for those volleys a lot more than Ashley, and it's an investment I believe she's making at this point.
I agree, Chase. You know, using her height is her advantage to take those balls early and keep Ashley under pressure.
And sometimes to the untrained eye, it might seem as though she's hitting weak shots, but just by volleying and taking the ball out early, it's taking so much time away from her opponent.
Comes right back to level things in the second game at 3-all, and then another well-executed dropper.
Ashley needs to be careful with those shots falling in the mid-court, the mid-third. Taylor is just eating them up. There we go again with the volleys.
Yep, Taylor will feel comfortable taking those balls because they're in her strike range, and as Chase said, Ashley just needs to be mindful of that going forward.
Big stretch. Another lunge. She's just hanging in there. Ooh, she's under the pressure.
Oh, again, another volley kill from Taylor.
She will not want to go down by 2 games to love in this semi-final. Ashley de Groot, of course, she has had to go 5 games in this tournament already. And that was in the second round of the tournament, her opening round, taking on Emma Turnbull. Did take her to 5. Did have a comfortable quarterfinal earlier today against Rachel Barnes of Bermuda. But against a quality player like Taylor Fernandes, if you go down by 2 games to love, it will be a long road back.
Most definitely. it being a semi-final, you definitely don't want to go down two games to love and have to dig yourself out of a massive hole. What Ashley could do here, which is a critical juncture at being down 7-4, is she needs to get a couple points on her string here and maybe put Taylor under a little bit of pressure once she could get 2 points in a row at least.
Definitely. I think she should focus on establishing a little bit more length. She's not getting the ball past Taylor at the moment. Right now she's just in retrieval mode.
Taylor has been so good this tournament. Beat Tessa Martin. Got the better of Savannah Thompson of Jamaica. And barely dropping points. She has dropped a few more in this semi-final as you would expect, but the quality is showing shot after shot.
Yeah, as Chase said earlier, Ashley's shots are falling a little bit too short, and then Taylor's just exploiting those loose shots and taking them in short for a kill.
6 game balls coming up for a 2-game to love lead for Taylor Fernandes.
Wow, this game is half the time as the first. She came out here with a plan and she's executing well.
Yeah, brilliantly done from Taylor Fernandes, the 24-year-old semi-finalist in 2019, and she returns on a mission. She has looked superb throughout this tournament, and she is 2 games to love up in her semi-final, 1 game away from the championship match. Taylor Fernandes back from having her first child, 1 game away from being in the final of the women's singles at the Caribbean Squash Championships here at the Ligonier Club in Kingston, Jamaica. She leads her countrywoman Ashley de Groot by 2 games to love, and there is no doubt that she has been the better player in this semi-final.
Yeah, Taylor has established her dominance. I don't think that Ashley's shown what she could do to change that thus far, and she's gonna have to come out and do something completely different from what we've seen over the first 2 games to rattle Taylor's cage, and let's see what she can do in these first few points of this third.
I definitely agree, Sean. I think what she needs to start thinking about is getting that ball to the back of the court, getting it past Taylor, and starting to be a little bit more patient with her shots going in.
Ashley de Groot was forced to go 5 games earlier in the tournament, but she didn't come from 2 games to love down. She came from 2 games to 1 down, and the job facing her now is, well, let's just say she has a mountain to climb, and it's a very difficult mountain as well.
Yeah, Taylor's looking very much with the foot on the accelerator here in this third, and I think this one may be over in a jiffy.
It's gonna be a great final. Well, assuming that it ends in Taylor's favor, which it very much looks as if it will at this stage. She opens up a 3-1 advantage in the third game.
You know, I always root for the underdog, so I'm not going to write Ashley off just yet.
Is that because you're always an underdog, Chase?
It seems that way.
Makes a lot of sense. was certainly the underdog in your quarterfinal this morning against Chris Binnie.
Please, thanks for the reminder, man.
That's what I'm here for. And ladies and gentlemen, you can't see this, but Chris Binnie just walked into our commentary area right on cue.
Speak of the devil.
Another great volley drop from Taylor to go up 5-1 in this third game.
Good drive. It's all established with good, tight drives, deep to the back, and that's where the opportunities are created.
Yeah, she's going to have to do that 9 more times to win this game, and let's hope that she can string together a few points, you know.
How difficult is it to consistently get that ball deep, and what are the factors that would prevent a player from being able to do that consistently?
Well, as we were trying to explain before, the use of the boast is to change the rhythm of the opponent, change the direction of the ball. With all of these factors and the speed at which these players are playing, the quickness, it's very difficult to keep that ball as tight and deep to the back of the court as possible.
It's going quickly now, this semi-final. Taylor Fernandes once again showing her quality.
She's really stretching Ashley here. Oh, that is a great counter drop by Ashley, just when Taylor was expecting something to the back of the court.
I don't think Taylor might mind her losing that point because she put quite a bit of miles on Ashley's feet. Those are the rallies you'd like to lose, when you make your opponent run more than you.
There's another winner from the racket of Taylor Fernandes, and Ashley de Groot is feeling it now.
Yes, she's feeling it. She just put her hand on the wall to catch a little bit of air, and Taylor is still breathing nice and light.
Oh, it's an exhibition now in this semi-final. Taylor Fernandes showing off her very best. And maybe we can start talking about the championship match on Tuesday against Ashley Khalil, who herself has been impressive.
It seems that way. I think she's going to try to wrap this up quickly with some quick winners. I think she has a nice enough lead where she can take a little chance and finish off in style.
3 points away. Make that 2.
Another great length by Taylor, and as Chase says, she's going to try to wrap this up quickly so that she can get a little bit more rest for tomorrow's match.
And now she has 6 match balls. Taylor Fernandes. What a performance this has been. Absolutely brilliant. She's been superb throughout the tournament. A semi-finalist in 2019, and now the 24-year-old reaches her first senior women's singles final at the Caribbean Area Squash Championships. Taylor Fernandes defeats her Guyanese teammate in straight games. That was really impressive.
Yeah, that's a dominant performance by Taylor. She came out today with a clear game plan, and she executed it very well against Ashley. I think Taylor will feel confident going into tomorrow's final, given how she's played today. But Ashley should also feel confident, given how she played today as well. So tomorrow should be a ringer.
11-6, 11-6, 11-4 the final score, as we get ready to have a look at how Taylor Fernandes defeated her Guyanese teammate Ashley de Groot to make her way into the championship match.
Definitely. A little recap. Taylor came out strong. She maintained that posture from the start to the absolute finish. She came out on a mission. Ashley just didn't have what it took at this point, but she gave a good representation of herself.
Taylor had, like I said, Taylor had a very clear game plan, and she executed it. Ashley just was missing her mark on her lengths a little bit, and she never really had 2 points really put together that could answer a question of Taylor today, unfortunately.
Yeah, you just never got the feeling at any point throughout this match that De Groot had the game to really trouble Taylor Fernandes. She looked in cruise control from the opening point, and the pureness of her shots just too much for her countrywoman at the end of the night. An outstanding performance. She has been so impressive throughout this entire tournament, and once again a demonstration of her quality, a demonstration of her class, the 24-year-old. And yeah, what a performance tonight.
Definitely, I'd like to add one more thing, that we have to still take into consideration how much squash these girls have been playing, and to put together a performance like that at this point is just magnificent.
Certainly is. It is a physically demanding sport, this. And you could see towards the closing stages, Ashley De Groot really feeling it physically. But yeah, no sweat for Taylor Fernandes, who advances to the final of the women's singles at the Caribbean Senior Squash Championships here in Kingston, Jamaica. After the break, we'll be hearing from the players. The finalists have been determined for the women's singles at the 2022 Caribbean Squash Championships here at the Ligony Club in Kingston, Jamaica. The second semi-final going to Taylor Fernandes, defeating her countrywoman Ashley De Groot in straight games here to move into the championship match on Tuesday. And we have Ashley De Groot with us, the second seed coming into this tournament, Ashley, but you came up against a top-class player tonight, and it was tough. Talk to me about how difficult that was.
I mean, I find it's always tough playing your teammates at a big tournament. She definitely had the better game today, and she won. Well played to her. Hopefully next time I'm better.
How disappointed are you?
I'm quite disappointed, but you know, I think I played well, and it just wasn't my day.
Where do you feel you fell short tonight?
I just find I wasn't getting my lengths. I wasn't getting the ball deep enough, and that was putting me under a lot of pressure because she didn't have to move as much to get to the ball. So.
Well, you did get to the semi-finals of the Caribbean Championship, so congratulations on that and all the best going forward.
Thank you.
All right, Ashley de Groot there, the losing semi-finalist, or losing semi-final 2 of the women's singles event here at the Caribbean Area Squash Championships, and now the winner, Taylor Fernandes, semi-finalist in 2019. Taylor, I think you were 20 years old then, just 20 years old then, and here you are 4 years later getting into the final. So many things have changed in that time. Just talk to me about what it means to you to be here in this place at this time and to be in the championship final as well.
For me, it's a great comeback because I had my daughter 2 years ago. So I wasn't sure if I was actually going to compete again, but coming back out, I was ready and willing, and I wanted to give it my all and push myself as much as I could. So it feels great to be back out. And
when did you make the decision that you wanted to come back, you would come back and you would play at the Caribbean Championship?
In January, they sent out a list of events, and I said that I'm still young, so why not push and see how much I can do. So that was my push to go for it and give it my all. I've been working really hard. So
have you in any way surprised yourself at the quality squash you have played in this tournament?
Definitely. I have been a lot more patient since coming back out, and I guess becoming a mom has made me 10 times more patient than I was, and that has taken my game to the next level. So I would say that's definitely the number one thing for me.
When we look at tonight's semi-final, did you ever have any doubt that this was a match you were going to win? You seemed in cruise control from the get-go. The quality of your shots, the length you were getting consistently. At least from my perspective, you looked clearly like the better player. Did you feel that way while you were in the contest?
Yeah, coming out, my number one thing was just staying focused and staying strong, and just not letting my nerves get the better of me and just pushing it as far as I could go,
Talk about nerves. There's the final to come. You play another teammate, Ashley Khalil, on Tuesday. Talk to me about that matchup.
Going into it, it's the same kind of mindset. Go out hard, play strong, stay focused, be patient, and just give it 110%. At this point, that's all I could do.
And what would it mean to you to win?
A whole lot of emotions, because it would be my first senior title. For both of us, actually, neither one of us have won a senior, so it would mean the world, definitely.
Well, we look forward to what will happen tomorrow. Congratulations on another sublime performance in this tournament.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Taylor Fernandes, another superb performance tonight, and she is through to the final where she'll play Ashley Khalil on Tuesday. The women's semi-finals are out the way. The men's semi-finals are coming up. Chris Binnie is going for title number 10. Caribbean Senior Squash Championships here at the Ligani Club in Kingston, Jamaica. We're getting ready for the men's semi-finals. Semi-final 1, the 9-time champion Chris Binnie chasing history, and in his way at this stage is Alex Arjoon of Guyana. Whereas on the women's side, all 4 semi-finalists came from one country. There are 4 players from 4 different countries for the men's semi-finals, and this is semi-final 1. Ricardo Chambers alongside a new voice, Adrian Grant, ranked as high as number 9 in the world. That was back in 2009. And Sean Simpson, the 11-time Barbados national champion, is here with us as well. Welcome to the broadcast, Adrian. Let's start by talking about Chris Binnie, because he is trying to create history at this tournament. The first player to win double-digit number of individual titles. He's going for number 10, and he's looked good so far.
Yeah, Chris is the main man here. I don't think he's going to be under much pressure, even though he's at home. He's so experienced in these situations. But I've heard Alex is a great player, and I'm really looking forward to this championship semi-final. Yeah, Alex Arjoon, he's had a couple of tough matches to get to this stage of the competition. He's pulled through, and he's going to need every bit of that resilience if he is to move beyond this round of the competition.
Yeah, Alex will need to lean on his disciplined game. As Adrian mentioned, Chris is a very experienced player, having been on the Pro Tour for a number of years, and he's going to need to lean on that discipline and to even make Chris sweat a bit.
Yeah, 30 years old, ranked as high as 375 in the world. He probably will need to play at a higher level tonight if he is to beat what he will be up against. There's the man of the moment, 33 years old now. Chris Binnie, ranked as high as 65 in the world, currently at 119. He's on the professional circuit since 2012, has all the experience in the world, has all the quality in the world. You could call him a Caribbean squash legend, and he is trying to add another trophy to his already historic cabinet. The crowd loves him, and they will be looking to push him all the way in this semi-final. He's genuinely a really nice guy as well.
Yeah, Chris obviously likes to have a smile on his face and make a few jokes. Very, very approachable guy, and I think he's gonna have some fun tonight. But
as a pro, don't be fooled by the smiles. Underneath, he's a serious competitor. But he shows his character. What you see off the court is genuine Chris, which is great. So he likes to have fun, and I think that's when he gets the best out of himself is when he's enjoying his squash.
He of course had another pretty good outing at the Commonwealth Games. He was good in the Gold Coast, got to the round of 16 in Birmingham, and this year as well. So a lot of quality squash under his belt coming into this tournament. Of course, with COVID-19 pandemic, wasn't always training in the initial stages of those, had a few issues, but he seems to be gradually getting back to where he wants to be.
Yeah, I think COVID obviously affected everyone. I think for all squash players, just about trying to keep as active as possible, and just reset. I think we had to, start all over again, refocus, but that also gave every player time to assess their game, and that's a long time off court in competing. So you'd like to think that you can come back with some more improvements. So I think Chris is in good shape. Like you said, he had the Commonwealth Games. I believe he didn't perform as well as he wanted to, but knowing Chris and how competitive he is, he will definitely want to bounce back in this.
I feel as if I know the answer to this next question, especially because I am speaking with a 41-year-old Adrian Grant and a 38-year-old Sean Simpson. But at 33 years old, how old is that in squash?
You're asking me? Well, if Chris is old, I'm ancient. So, but you can't full experience, right? So, and at this level, experience goes a very, very long way. I would say the conditions are tough, but this is Chris's climate. If I was playing in here, it would be very hard for me. But he's used to it. He knows how the court plays. It's very unique. There's not much. Me and Sean were just talking before. There's not much airflow. The ball's very bouncy, so you really have to work your openings. You can't go for cheap shots here.
The courts here have been refurbished for this tournament. How much does that make it different? How much adjustment do you have to do with the surface, given that it's a new surface essentially?
But with it being recently refurbished, I think you now have to really find the marks on these courts. That's what I found in my first few matches. Some of the courts play true, some not so true. But Chris, being experienced enough, he'll be quick to find those markers and play a very efficient and effective game tonight.
Yeah, Chase and Tajay, well, they have finished commentary duties and they're getting ready to enjoy this first semi-final in the men's category. The lefty from Guyana, the 30-year-old Alex Arjoon, what would he have to do tonight if he's to even stand a chance?
The first game is vital. Like he has to, even if he doesn't win the first game, it's just to put some mileage in Chris's legs. Chris is going to come out strong. He's going to try and dominate the middle, hunt the volley the way he does. But Alex just really needs to quieten the crowd, because it's going to be probably everyone's against him bar the Ghanaians. But as I said, first game is vital. If it's not, then it's a huge mountain to climb.
Yeah, the fans getting ready, anticipating what is to be some massive occasion for Binnie. He's going for history. He's going for a 10th title. Yes, he knows how to do it. He's done it so many times. But the pressure of trying to achieve something no one else has ever achieved before, does that come into play any at all?
I think at this stage, it being a semi-final, Chris is going to be comfortable here. Maybe tomorrow's match may be different, but tonight he should be just focusing on making that final. And there's a gap between him and Alex, and once he plays his game as he should, it should be smooth sailing tonight.
Raman Chanasu, the Guyanese coach, providing final advice to Alex Arjoon. Soaking it all in for this semi-final. A 30-year-old versus a 33-year-old for a place in the final of the Caribbean Championships for 2022. 3 years after the last one was held in 2019. COVID-19 forcing postponements and cancellations, but we are finally here and getting ready to enjoy a full week of marvelous action. The fans very much in here at the Ligani Club, and you can expect them to be at the top of their voices for this semi-final. Semi-final 2, Cumberbatch of Barbados, Julian Jervis of the Cayman Islands. That should be a pretty good one. But we get ready for this first semi-final. The women's finalists have been determined, both from Guyana, of course. There are 4 Guyanese players in the women's semi-finals. Ashley Khalil beating Akila Wilshire 11-6, 11-6, 11-7. John Holly from Trinidad and Tobago, the match referee.
Semi-final.
And Taylor Fernandes getting through to the women's final as well, beating Ashley de Groot.
And Alex Arjoon from Guyana. Chris Binnie to serve. Best of 5. Love all.
Chris Binnie to get us underway in semi-final 1.
I think this first couple of rallies for Alex are crucial. I'm sure he's still going to be very nervous, but these first rallies I predict are going to be quite fast and furious, just to get the nerves out of the system, all the cobwebs, and I think after that we'll start to find more of Alex play the way we know he can.
Couple errors so far by Alex, but Chris is really hunting those back corners, and he's not giving Alex too much to look at.
When you're going up against a player who you know is better than you are, does that force you to go for a little bit more than you usually would?
Usually, yeah, but again, it's all about these conditions. You can't go for a cheap shot here. I think Alex just showed there. He went for two shots which weren't on, forced it and hit the tin straight away. You really have to be very patient, very disciplined. That's the main thing for Alex. And then when that opportunity comes, then you have to take it. But you can't force it here, or you're going to leave yourself exposed.
1, 2.
Let called on that point, so they'll replay.
You can see, I spoke earlier about Chris trying to take control of the middle. If there's any opportunity on the volley or any opportunity you can cut it off before the back wall, Chris is on. And ultimately that puts more pressure on Alex, taking his time away, and he's having to move that split second quicker.
Yeah, so Binnie up 3-1. I think we've gotten it wrong on the graphic there for a second.
Chris now is using the front court, asking a lot of Alex to come forward, and you see he's forced the error from Alex there as well.
Binnie opening up a 4-1 advantage.
Out. 5.
So there's just for maybe some new people to squash, or even experience, there's like small subtleties Chris is doing right now. So if you just notice when the ball's bouncing, he's taking it on the highest point rather than letting it drop lower. And again, this is taking time away from his opponent. So even though Alex looks like he's in a rally, he's having to move a lot quicker than Chris. And ultimately, in these conditions, that's really going to take your legs away.
In tennis, you would probably call it taking the ball early. Watched him earlier in his quarterfinal, and he did that consistently. Binnie just took time away from his opponent.
And Chris is going to be accustomed to that, having been on the Pro Tour and being on the opposite side sometimes of other opponents doing that, and he knows that is going to be to his advantage at this level as well.
Absolutely brilliant. That's what they like to see.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you look at, so I look at a lot of things that are happening off the ball. I hardly watch the squash ball when I'm watching a squash match, because what's happening with the players is more important, because that makes the impact on the ball. And if you see Alex compared to Chris, Alex's movement off the tee, his body weight is leaning backwards. So ultimately, he's not going to be looking for the volley or taking it early as efficiently as Chris, whereas Chris is always trying to hunt. He's always trying to step forward.
Looks in fine form tonight. Cruising in the opening game.
Yeah, Chris is definitely taking the hunt. and not giving Alex much time in between shots at all. As soon as Alex is playing, he has to be prepared for the next shot.
10-2. 8 match balls coming up for the 9-time champion. A little exhibition in the middle of that point, and the Jamaican has the opening game here at the Ligani Club. Chris Binnie, the 9-time champion, winning the opening game of his semi-final 11-2 over the Guyanese Alex Arjoon. Semi-final of the men's singles here at the Caribbean Senior Squash Championships at the Ligani Club in Kingston, Jamaica. And Jamaica's Chris Binnie leading by a game to love, 11-2 in the opening game over Alex Arjoon. And the quality of the 9-time champion coming through, Sean Simpson, in that opening game.
Yeah, Chris didn't give Alex any look in that game. He was taking the ball early. He was putting him under consistent pressure, and Alex didn't handle that well in the first game. Hopefully in this second one, he can, having had a nice talk with his coach, he could probably implement a different game plan and be a little bit more patient and focus on getting that ball to the back of the court a bit more and limit Chris's opportunities to get on the ball early.
If you're Alex Arjoon, you got 2 points in the opening game. Do you start thinking, let's try and get to 4 in this one? Small steps.
No, I mean, if I was in that position right now, I would be more about looking at the quality and what I'm trying to do. The points will take care of itself. That process will happen, but I'd look to use the sidewalls more, trying to get it a lot tighter, because Binnie was really getting onto the ball early, and Alex was quite loose, so he needs to use those side walls and just play up and down the channels. And as Sean said, he has to be very disciplined, which is very hard when you're under pressure.
He has been under tremendous pressure in this semi-final already.
So exactly there, what I would have done is what Chris is doing to Alex. So you saw that nice tight length there, and even if Alex would have got the ball back on the front wall, it would have put Chris in a really good position to attack the next shot.
That is a shot. That is a shot. That is using his height well there. Alex tried to change the height, but Chris was quick to answer.
Shot of a man who has been inside the top 100 in the world, ranked as high as 65 in the world, Chris Binnie.
Oh, and again, Alex tried to use the height, but Chris was quick on the ball and took it into the front left corner.
But they're the kind of two shots that Chris has played there, which have been, you know, really hard to execute. But it's not a good sign for Alex. For Chris to be playing those shots now shows how confident he is, and that confidence is just going to keep growing and growing.
Started out steadily, Chris Binnie, and now looking to put on a show for his home crowd. First time since 2007 that the Caribbean Championships has been held here in Jamaica. And the last time the tournament had to be aborted midway because of a hurricane. Well, it could be Hurricane Binnie at this one.
Could be, and I was part of those championships back in 2007, and a Barbadian won the singles title back then, Gavin Cumberbatch. He actually played Chris in the semi-finals back then, and you know, Chris, I think, has taken it, or he took it as a sign of motivation to push his game to the next level, and in 2 years' time he was the Caribbean champion.
I figured you were around in 2007.
Yeah, I was one of the semi-finalists back then as well too, so it's been a long time.
There's another Cumberbatch in this tournament. He will come up in semi-final 2.
Yes, Kamal, that is Gavin's youngest brother. He's at Trinity College right now, and he's going into his junior year.
Binnie cruising in their second game, 7-1 up.
Stroke. To Arjoon. Hand out.
Chris isn't giving Alex much to work with today, but he got a lucky one there where the ball popped out between the front wall and the side and just sprayed into the middle where Chris had to scramble, but Alex was able to get a stroke. And a stroke is where you're interrupted from playing a shot, so that point goes to Alex.
He seems to get a lot of those calls, Alex Arjoon. Watched his round of 16 last night, watched a little bit of his quarterfinal today.
Yeah, he seems to be a lucky fellow with those sometimes. I was on the receiving end of 1 or 2 today.
I think also, you know, squash is such a momentum sport, so any point that Alex gets, he needs to try and keep that momentum, because every point for Alex is like getting 10 points. So it's, you know, he needs to try and hold that serve as long as possible. So you can see here the lines, so the straight lines in which Chris is hitting is so much more consistent than Alex. You know, sometimes when Alex hits the front wall, it clips the side wall, comes out to the middle, and then leaves an opportunity for Chris. In comparison to Chris, you know, his lines are hitting to the back or going along the side wall, which cuts down the options for Alex to attack.
Trying to move Binnie, but there's all his experience coming to play there.
Yeah, I think Chris can afford a couple of unforced errors with this lead, so hopefully we'll see an exhibition shot again to close the game out.
Couple of unforced errors from Chris Binnie there.
In a row. Let's see if he can muster up another one and make this one interesting.
That please. 6, 9.
You know, the last 3 points that Alex has won, it hasn't come from him winning an outright point, right? It's been from Chris making the error, just like there. And that's down to Alex being patient, you know, and Chris is the one who has to close the game out. So now the pressure, you could say, is on Chris to try and, you know, put some pressure on the points and go for the shot.
Might have started out with it With him missing a few exhibition shots, now he might be under genuine pressure, released by that arrow.
Yeah, just like Adrian said, he was being patient there, and all of a sudden made a bad decision on a half opportunity rather than just resetting.
3 game points. Oh, that's a top shot.
That's a great cross-court volley. Chris was looking for it straight, but Alex just held it a little bit longer and went for it cross-court.
What I like about this shot is, this court is very warm, and you heard when Alex hit that ball, he really used the strings and really cut the ball, so it stays very close to the front wall.
Well, Binnie closes it out. Might have been a slight scare at some point midway that second game, but he gets the second game ball and moves into a 2-game-to-love lead. The 9-time champion in control in Kingston.
I don't watch people, man. I'm looking for hometown land. Who me? I don't watch people think I's a queen. I am my own.
Arjoon with it all to do in this semi-final of the men's singles at the Caribbean Area Squash Championships, and he seems to be really struggling with the conditions. Arjoon saw him after his quarterfinal earlier today, where he needed a lot of ice and assistance. Clearly the heat proving difficult for him, and tonight it's not just the heat off court, but it's what he's facing from Chris Binnie as well, who is up by 2 games to love.
Stop, thank you.
Yeah, Alex had a better second game there. He was a bit more patient, forced a few errors from Chris. Let's see if he can do that in game 3 and be even more patient and get a bit more points to maybe potentially snatch a 3rd game.
Yeah, I think, obviously it's 2-love down, but I if it was me in Alex's position, I would try to keep what I did in the back end of that second and do the same, repeat that, because that was very successful for him. And again, it's just having that discipline.
Binnie right back to work.
Another early ball there from Chris, perfect length into Alex's backhand and died in the back corner.
Yeah, I think the majority of this match so far, Binnie has been in front of Chris the whole time. This is one of Alex's things, is trying to get in front. You have to force yourself to get in front of your opponent by hitting deep into the corners or using the height to get them back. and then try to control that middle. But at the minute, Binnie is spending most of his time around the middle of the court, which reflects in the score.
Yes, lad.
That ball. Three
That call, they'll replay that one.
Oh, that is a beautiful shot by Alex.
1-3.
Sometimes you just have to get on the highlight reel.
I think that's good for Alex. He can. That's one positive takeaway from tonight's match. Sorry.
Hand out.
Chris is really stretching Alex into these corners today, not giving him much to work with.
Yeah, I think if Chris gets these next few points, then I'm pretty sure we're going to go into exhibition match, which will be quite entertaining for the crowd.
Just struggling to consistently put good rallies together, Arjoon. How much advantage do you get from the serve?
I mean, I coach now, and I tell all my players that's the only free shot you get in squash, right? So you have to use it. I don't think people use it enough or really appreciate how much it can put you in an advantage straight away.
Well, that was an advantageous shot down the line.
Yeah, I agree with Adrian there. I also coach, and I tell my students the same thing. It's the one shot in squash that you have full control of, and you better make full advantage of it, you know.
It's kind of like tennis, you know, they're trying to get that ace, the first one in, first serve.
It just seems a lot easier to see the advantage in tennis.
Yeah, with squash, what you want to do with your serve is get that ball onto the side wall as close as possible, forcing your opponent to go on the defensive and try to take that ball out of the back of the court rather than volleying it.
Yeah, it's very rare you'll get an ace shot in squash. So, but it's the follow-up, right? So it's a combination of the serve, and as Sean said, then looking to pounce on that on the weaker return.
Binnie moving closer to a place in another Caribbean Championship final. Has won 9, lost 1. He's looking to make his 11th final.
4-9.
Yeah, I think we could pretty much say that he's on the home stretch here, and Alex just needs to be a little bit more disciplined in this game to make it more interesting. But he was under a little bit of pressure and made some bad decisions trying to go short. But Chris is in cruise control here now.
Well, that was nice.
I was waiting for the exhibition part. I'm glad it came in. The crowd really enjoyed that. It's been a good match overall, you know. As I said, like Chris has been in full control.
6 match balls for Chris Binnie for a place in the final. On home turf, Chris Binnie now 1 win away from more Caribbean squash history. 9 titles already. This will be his 11th final as he tries to become the first Caribbean player to reach double-digit titles in the history of the Caribbean Squash Championships. Binnie is through, Arjoon is out. The men's semi-final 1 is out the way, and it really was tough for the Guyanese. 11-2, he rallied in that second set, lost it 11-8, and Binnie back to work in the third and final game, what turned out to be the final game. 11-2, 11-8, 11-4 the final score to the top seed, and he's through to the final. Let's have a look at the highlights from this first semi-final match. Gentlemen, talk me through this, as Chris Binnie pretty much dominated this one from the start.
Yeah, I mean, this shot here, I really love this camera angle because the bird's eye view, because you really see how much Chris is pushing up to the front. His first step from that tee is really looking to take that ball early, as we identified before. And I think that just set the tone for the whole match. You know, that really took the legs out of Alex, and, you know, that paid dividends towards the end. You saw at match ball when Chris won that game, or that last game, sorry, that Alex was bending over.
Yeah, as Adrian said, Chris was just not giving him much time in between shots, asking him to take an additional step back and forward, and Alex was feeling it by the end of the match.
He definitely was, for sure, and he's had tough matches already leading into this one, Alex Arjoon, and tonight just proved one hurdle too many for him. Chris Binnie through to the final of the men's singles at the Caribbean Squash Championships. One semi-final still to come. Cumberbatch of Barbados taking on Julian Jervis of the Cayman Islands. Chris Binnie is into his 11th final at the Caribbean Squash Championships in the men's singles. He's defeated Alex Arjoon of Guyana 11-2, 11-8, 11-4, and another fabulous performance. We have Alex here with us. Alex, first of all, how tough was that?
Tough. He's the #1 seed for a reason. He's 9-time Caribbean champ for a reason. But you know, it's always an honor to get on court with him. He's been one of my role models since way back when, so it was fantastic, especially to do it in Jamaica. Half of my family is Jamaican, so it had some meaning behind it, and to come this far as well.
what was the thought process going into that match? Because for sure you knew that you would be up against it.
Well, he's such a big guy and so strong on the tee that it's really hard to get the ball past him. So setting up any sort of play is very difficult. So my plan initially was just to squeeze him as much as I can, and then look for the openings. Once I started to see that in like the second game, it started to come together a little bit, but he's so good defensively, it was hard to keep up.
And of course he was also moving you, taking the ball early. You spoke about him staying close to the tee and so on. How much more difficult does that make it?
Super difficult. I mean, you know, the objective of squash is to move the other guy around. So if you're the one doing all the moving, you know, it's clearly like, you know, a boxer just taking punches all the time. So it's not fun.
Yeah. And one quick one, saw you after your round of 16 last night, also saw you after your quarterfinal today, and you look spent. How tough have the conditions been for you?
Super, super tough. The two guys I played are super, just never say die. Big respect to them too. Grew up playing with them, and it was never going to be easy. I mean, I always felt it was possible because they were lefties and I'm a lefty, so it felt a little comfortable playing them. And I think it worked out for me, but Chris is obviously a righty, so not the same strategy. But nonetheless, you know, I'm happy with the performance. I did what I could with what I have, and I'm happy.
Congratulations on making it to the semi-finals, and all the best for the rest of the competition.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Alex Arjoon there from Guyana, losing in the first semi-final of the men's singles to Chris Binnie, the 9-time champion, going for his 10th crown. Chris, you look good tonight. That looked like a super performance. How did you feel about your execution?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy to get the win. You know, any means necessary, any way you can pull out a win. Just happy to do it. But thankfully, I was able to get it done in 3, so I was very excited about that. Happy about that.
What happened in that second game? You were cruising, and then it almost seemed close.
No, I mean, that's sport. No, the ball is drawn. He started taking it up a bit, and he hit some really good shots, and I wasn't able to I guess, win those points. So thankfully, like by the end of it, I was able to turn it around and, you know, keep it steady, and I scraped out the win. But man, that's sports. I mean, you could be cruising one time, and all of a sudden things turn around on you. I mean, credit to him for changing the game a bit, making some like changes in that game specifically, and it worked. But thankfully, I was able to kind of stem it.
You're one step closer. How much do you understand and appreciate what you are trying to do here? Win a 10th title, first man, first player to do that at the Caribbean Squash Championships.
You know, I think when I started playing these events, I was just trying to win any match I could. And I think, you know, thinking back on my career, I think that's what I'm still trying to do. So I'm going to go out there tomorrow. It's just another match. It's one match. That's how I'm going to think about it, because I think once you start thinking about the bigger picture, there's too much pressure. So I'm just happy to be here playing in front of my home crowd here. Great support tonight. Hopefully they'll be here tomorrow as well. And hopefully that one match I'm present for, I'm in there and I can do well.
And one more, what's it like to play in front of your parents? Saw your mom earlier today and she was like, oh, I don't really watch. I probably caught like one game. Your dad was here as well. How much more special does that make it?
Yeah, it means a lot to me. I've been traveling and playing on a tour for a long time, and I don't really get, you know, many opportunities for my family and friends to even come and see me play. So it means a great deal, and you know, hopefully I'll have everyone there tomorrow, my dad, everybody. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty good crowd here. I think they'll all be back tomorrow for the final. Congratulations on another wonderful performance, Chris, and all the best for the finale tomorrow.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, Chris Binnie through to the final of the men's singles here at the Caribbean Squash Championships at the Ligonier Club in Kingston, Jamaica. Semi-final 2 is coming up, and it promises to be a hot one. If you're in the Cayman Islands, if you're in Barbados, you'd want to stand by. It's going to be big. Chris Binnie has done his business. He's through to the final of the men's singles here at the Caribbean Area Squash Championships. And now we're ready for the second semi-final. Julian Jervis of the Cayman Islands up against Cumberbatch of Barbados. Ricardo Chambers alongside Carl Chin, a former national player at both the junior and senior level, Jamaica national that is. And he joins us for this second semi-final as the players get ready to make their way on court. Julian Jervis there of the Cayman Islands, coming off successful Commonwealth Games, won the consolation doubles event with Cameron Stafford, and he comes in here quite focused. Had a big quarterfinal win against the Jamaican Julian Morrison earlier today. Really pumped for that quarterfinal match. It was a game all at one stage, and he really upped his level to take that encounter earlier today, and he's back for his semi-final. Julian Jervis, what are you expecting from him tonight, Kyle?
Expecting great things. Julian's actually spent some time in Egypt recently training before this, and Egypt is a hotbed of champions when it comes to squash. That's where a lot of the current champions, rating both men and women, are coming out of, and it's just really saturated with amazing squash players. So I expect that he's got some good training in. I expect that he's focused and he's ready to put on the show.
Good training, good competition leading into this tournament, and he is clearly ready for this occasion. He's one of those players who really soaks up what he's getting from the energy that he gets from the crowd, and he will be pumping them up tonight as much as they will be pumping him up. He loves the big occasions.
Yeah, and Cayman really showed out this time. We have a lot of support from Cayman, but Barbados is never one to play with. You don't play with Barbados, they come ready. It's a squash country, they come ready.
They certainly do. And Gavin Cumberbatch,
squash racket in his hand.
Older brother of the man you're going to see shortly, as there he is. Camel Cumberbatch comes from a family of fine squash players, and he has an opportunity to add his name to the list of Cumberbatch champions.
Absolutely, and Kamal is no stranger to the world champion. Kamal has won every single category in the juniors, coming straight up. So under 11, under 13, under 15, under 17, under 19.
This is the senior ranks though. It will be as tough as he's ever faced. And they are battling for a chance to meet the 9-time champion Chris Binnie in the championship match on Tuesday.
And of course Kamal is number 2 seed, so we all have expectations. People have their favorites and their picks. If the money was rolling and people were betting, I think I know who they're betting on.
Yeah, there's been a lot said on Cumberbatch and his quality. Some say he is the likely successor to Chris Binnie as the Caribbean #1. How good do you think he is?
Oh, I think he's that good. I think he's that guy. And yeah, it's no doubt that he's putting in the work, and with his age and the amount of potential that he has, and the growth that is ahead of him, there's no doubt that great things are coming.
For sure. Julian Jervis versus Camel Cumberbatch in the second semi-final of the men's singles at the Caribbean Squash Championships. An event that started on Sunday, and the individual events will conclude on Tuesday, and then we will go into team competition, which will all end on Saturday.
And that's where the real excitement is. That's the one thing with Caribbean squash. I mean, that's when the teams come together and the teams get behind their players. It's amazing, and the enthusiasm is unbelievable. It's like no other sport.
For sure. Camel Cumberbatch opened against Abesekara and came through that 11-2, 11-2, 11-5 before taking on Jason Khalil in his quarterfinal earlier today. 11-8, 11-4, 11-4. He has been crisp coming through.
Yeah, himself and Chris have not dropped games coming through, nor were they expected to.
Yeah, Julian Jervis, he too, opening round, straight games, and took out Daniel Ince of Guyana, and then in his quarterfinal took on Julian Morrison. Did drop a game in the second game, but won it 11-7, 9-11, 11-4, 11-7. That was a really entertaining match to watch.
Absolutely, and Jamaican Julian Morrison had to represent and did a good job fighting hard for that win, for that one game that he got, but it doesn't necessarily mirror the effect of the match.
Tremendous support as well for that quarterfinal, with the crowd, both the Caymanians and the Jamaicans, very much into that contest. Absolutely. Every point, every shot.
Absolutely. You know, Jamaicans like to make noise. So we're ready, we're here for them.
Caymanians had a bell as well.
Yeah man, I see them come with bell, and yeah, they're bringing the excitement, and we love that. That's what's great about, like I said, Caribbean competition and Caribbean squash. We show out.
For sure. And Jervis is back tonight. And he has the Caymanian support and all of Barbados watching on SportsMax.
And I'm really expecting this game to be a nice, fast-paced game. Both like to hit the ball hard, and we're going to see some tight shots, and we're going to see a lot of movement from these guys. And for the casual watcher out there, I want you to understand, especially the closer the ball is to the wall, is the more difficult it is to return. And it's definitely the more difficult it is to return as close. So when you see them running a rally where the ball is just consistently coming close to the wall down the line, that's a level of difficulty that's very hard to achieve. So it's high skill.
Julian Jervis, Cayman Islands. Kamal Cumberbatch, Barbados. Cumberbatch seeded 2. Jervis seeded outside the top 4, of course, in squash. The seeding's quite different. Let's take, for example, tennis, where you are given a specific number. All the seeds. In squash, you have the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed, then you have 3-4. So you'd have 2 players at 3-4, then you have 5 to 8.
Right. And of course, if I was ranked 5 to 8, I would just say 5. Why on earth would I say 5 to 8?
Yeah, and there is Sean Simpson. Heard him earlier on commentary. He'll be coaching Kamal Cumberbatch through this semi-final and giving final instructions ahead of this clash. You heard it from Kyle. He's won it all at the junior level, every single age category, and he now steps up with the big men, and this is one of the big men, Julian Jervis of the Cayman Islands, coming in with tremendous confidence and an opportunity to make the final of the Caribbean Championship.
And I mean, my sport is martial arts now, so MMA, and we always watch like the body language of these of the competitors before they go into the into battle. And I must say, Kamal looks pretty relaxed.
He does. He's looked that way right through the tournament.
Kamal to serve.
From what I understand, he's quite eager to play Chris Binnie.
Yeah, he would be. Especially on a stage like this, when you get to the Caribbean stage. I mean, he must feel like it's his time. So here we go with that nice steady movement along the wall. 2 loose balls there and then we get back tight. So what we're seeing now is where they're varying the pace of this rally. Alright, so they're going to go a couple slow shots, a couple fast shots, and that makes it more difficult to kind of predict your movement.
Yeah, good start to the contest. The other semi-finals have been rather one-sided. Maybe for the first time we'll get a real contest.
Perhaps.
No let.
No let called.
Yeah, there didn't seem to be enough obstruction to the ball. The ball was nice and tight, and he didn't seem to have a problem getting there.
Just let, please.
Again.
Yes, let.
So this is interesting. Sometimes players play judges, and they get the judges involved. But the judges, it depends on their calls, whether or not they're going to allow that to happen.
One all early in this semi-final. Jervis versus Cumberbatch.
All right, so we have a lot of pressure on the backhand side. Both players are playing along the backhand, keeping it nice and tight. And we're switching between back of court and front of court. Oh. No let. Again, we see Julian trying to play for the lets.
You've got to go for that. It's getting too physical. He's not in your way.
And then we have the judge warning him, the same thing I'm talking about. Sometimes the players want to get the judges involved. And
Julian, wait.
Where squash is now, we don't allow that to happen. We want the players to fight to get to the ball and not to play the man.
The man. Move around him.
That's Judge Karen Anderson, stalwart in the game, veteran in the game.
It's interesting. I watched a couple matches with Alex Arjoon, who I thought got a few favorable calls. as we're joined by Joey Levy as well for this semi-final. But controversial moments early in this semi-final.
Nice fast-paced rally here. We see come out. Both players really speeding up the pace of this rally.
Yeah, as we welcome Joey Levy to our broadcast for this second semi-final. Joey, a couple controversial moments early.
Yeah, a lot of tension with the players. Cumberbatch putting Jervis under pressure early with some nice hands, nice touch.
And we see the pace changing again. He goes for the lobs when he goes up front. Nice soft drop shot, and Julian is still trying to keep the ball fast. And here we go, Kamal touching it softly, so Kamal is trying to get his pace. And a nice beautiful lob from Kamal, trying to slow it back down, and Julian is, here we go, a change of pace completely again, drops. Consistent drops. Oh, beautiful.
Long grinding rally. And Julian Jervis comes out to win it. And that is exactly what he wants, the crowd into this.
Yeah, those early rallies put a lot of miles in the legs. The player's going to start to feel those later. And I think that's what Jervis is going for here. He wants to put the pressure on Cumberbatch. I think he's depending on fitness here.
Yeah, he sure is going around him now.
I think Cumberbatch is definitely trying to put the man's on the legs by going high and then low. He's putting him to the back, then touching it up the front.
Jervis with the lead.
Stroke to Cumberbatch.
So Julian is now allowing the judges to affect him. Can't let that happen.
The arc of the swing.
Wow.
High down. 3-all.
And I suppose different referees may see it differently. I guess like with any other sport.
Yeah, but the margin is small.
Yeah, very fine margins. Referees generally will call games very similarly, but some will tend to be a little more liberal than others. Some will be a little more, rigorous, making sure players are clearing the ball when they play them.
Absolutely. Beautiful shot from the net.
One thing about Jervis, he'll come roaring back.
Handout 4-3.
Strong play here from Jervis. He really is putting the pressure on. A little early nerves and a little early confrontation with the referee seems to have done him a little good.
Adds to the spectacle.
You get a little fire from the referee, huh?
Definitely the most competitive match we've had so far tonight.
Yeah, so Cumberbatch with another unforced error there, feeding and pressure. Pace is heavy, so we're going to see if he can counter it, slow the game down, and get back into it.
Which is right, and that's the purpose. That's the purpose of the fast-paced game, is to force errors from the other side. We put down the pressure, and we see that Kamal knows exactly how to change that around with slowing it down.
And he's finally gotten a stroke called in his favour.
It's lit.
Yes, sir.
Julian Jervis. And it goes at 3 points clear. He's managed to turn this around. Game is far from over though.
For sure. On the backhand again, pressure in. Beautiful shot.
A glimpse of what he's capable of.
Yeah, excellent hands. Deep into the back corner, all along the side wall and dying in the corner.
That's the pace we aim for every time. We just want it to die in the back.
Five, 6.
Not on first error. Crucial moment in time.
Sometimes these types of players live by the sword, die by the sword.
Which is right.
Sometimes they all the shots come off, and you have a good game. Sometimes you hit a few thins, and really lets you. It eases the pressure on your opponent.
Yes, Let.
And we do see Julian really calling for a lot of lets. Sometimes it's a tactic to annoy your opponent. Sometimes it gets under the opponent's skin that they're calling for all these lets, and it becomes a problem, and then you get to win that mental game.
That's a top shot.
And a tired lunge from Cumberbatch there. Yeah. Looks like the length of this game is getting to him a little bit.
I don't know if it's tired, my brother. I think he's gotten into his head.
Definitely that is a part of it.
Jervis has opened up another 3-point advantage in this opening game.
Oh.
Another loose one in the middle from Cumberbatch. Had to dodge his own shot to get out of the way so he didn't get called for a stroke, but that put him out of position and Julian was able to finish a point.
Exactly right. So now we have Cumberbatch thinking more about strokes and thinking more about obstructions than playing his game. And that was the point of asking for those lets from Julian.
It's been a brilliant turnaround from Jervis.
Jervis is playing a very intellectual game right now. Very, very intellectual, very smart, experienced game.
Good deception from Cumberbatch there. Set Jervis the wrong way.
That's right. Excellent recovery from Julian. Oh, and stroke.
And Jervis now is the one who plays the ball back to himself. No chance for Cumberbatch to play that ball there, so he gets that point.
Handout 6-9.
This one is feisty, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely some drama here, and we're loving it.
Not out.
Oh. And a beautiful nick return of service from the cross court backhand.
Jervis is locked in here, there's no doubt about it.
Game ball.
He's come here on a mission. Had a very good Commonwealth Games. Has taken all that confidence into this.
And a poor error there from Cumberbatch to end the game. Under no pressure, just bangs one and down into the tin.
Julian Jervis steps up again, wins the opening game against Camel Cumberbatch 11-6. That certainly was competitive. So much more to come in this second semi-final at the Ligani Club in Kingston. Controversial moments in the opening game of the second semi-final between Camel Cumberbatch of Barbados and Julian Jervis of the Cayman Islands. Jervis shrugging off the controversy to come through and take the opening game, and it's now Cumberbatch from Barbados who must regroup and try and level this match in the second game. What does he need to do, Carl Chin and Joey Levy, as the fans are very much into this second semi-final?
It's funny that you say it's a controversial thing that he pushed past. I think he created the controversy as a part of his game plan to get under the skin of the younger player, Kamal, and it's worked very well for him. He's able to play his game, and he stopped Kamal from playing his slow-paced game and slowing it down when he wants to. So I think that's the track that he has to stay on.
I think for Cumberbatch, he just needs to, get past the calls, forget that, and start to tighten up his game a little bit. He has an excellent game. He needs to go back to his game plan of slowing the ball down and cut out the errors.
Absolutely. I think Julian wants to keep it fast. He wants to keep it low and wants to keep it hard. We're back to a nice tight backhand rally.
Stroke to Jervis.
And Julian playing the man again, going for the strokes again.
Again, but I think that's created by Cumberbatch not playing the ball tight enough to the side walls. He's playing them a little loose and giving Jervis the opportunity to play through him.
Absolutely. And this is what I was talking about before for the casual viewer. Once you get the ball close to the side wall, it is that much more difficult to play it back, to return it and keep it close.
Cumberbatch is flustered here, I think.
Yeah, you could see the contact as he moved to the back of the ball. He didn't make the call and didn't get to the ball. He could have called a let there, but I think he's a little, it's in his head a little bit.
So we see Julian's tactics continuing. He made no effort to go for the ball a while ago, but asked for the let and was denied.
Yeah, a little tighter from Cumberbatch there, so couldn't get the stroke there. You can see the ball there very, very tight to the sidewall. Good shot by Cumberbatch.
It's a dangerous medium that Julian's playing though, because Julian also seems bothered.
Yeah, neither of them are really taking advantage of the other mentally. They're both being affected negatively by it.
They can't seem to get out of each other's way. Could be a long night.
And now we see the pace really picking up. Really fast game right now. Both players playing the ball really fast and hard, and now we're going to see a switch in pace.
This is better from Cumberbatch. He's playing a lot tighter now, and he's mixing his pace, so he'll play hard and low and then lob them up to throw his opponent off the pace.
Here we have Julian trying to tell the ref what to call it, and now he's opening the door to talk to the ref.
Julian, close
this
back
was
the
going to
door.
come for sure.
Yeah, the referees definitely frown upon this, especially when they open the door to argue that he could get a conduct warning if he's not careful.
And Karen is not having it. Head ref Karen is not having it.
She's in a no-nonsense mood tonight.
As usual.
An immediate error, unforced error, hits the ball in the tin. And this is the way momentums shift, just by little moments like that. And as we see, Kamal taking advantage.
Yeah, 3-point lead for Cumberbatch here.
He's the one who is down the game, Cumberbatch. So much more important for him to stay focused. And another error coming from Julian Jervis. And the gap in this second game now 4 points.
Cumberbatch controlling the rallies here. He's playing very well here. He's gotten himself back together, and you see the pressure affecting Julian.
Oh, beautiful shot from Julian. Cross-court nick.
That was an angry shot, guys. That was an angry nick.
It's an angry, beautiful shot, brother.
If it was indeed a tactic from Julian Jervis, then he must now start rethinking that, because he's not getting many of these calls.
Absolutely. I think he's also affected his own mentality, and I think it's backfired a bit.
Cumberbatch with a 4-point lead here, and he gets another stroke. Julian with another loose shot coming right back out into the middle of the court, exactly where you don't want to play the ball.
Brilliant.
Didn't ask for that one, and I think you can see that the body language is very negative from Julian at this point in time. He does not look like he's enjoying this at all.
No, he's giving up on that one. He's giving up. He's not even responding to that.
7 game balls for Cumberbatch. Julian Jervis essentially gives up that game. A stroke-filled second game in more ways than one. And at the end of it, Cumberbatch wins 11-3. We are a game apiece in this second semi-final. All drama at the Ligony Club in Kingston. So much more to come. Two games out the way in the second semi-final of the men's singles at the Caribbean Squash Championships at the Ligony Club in Kingston. So many controversial moments. This man essentially tanking the second game, opening the door at one stage. He was asked by the head referee, Karen Anderson, to close it. He wasn't a happy camper, pretty much gave up towards the end of that second game. And now Julian Jervis must regroup as the match is at one game apiece.
And I think his coaches definitely had a word with him just now. He came in and was very apologetic towards the ref. So I think we're going to hopefully see a switch in his mentality, and we see some better squash from him.
How often do we see this in the sport, these controversial calls, players being affected by them? And in Julian's case, to the point where he essentially just tanked the second game.
Yeah, his body language went very negative from the middle of that game, and then you could see at the end there from 9-3, he didn't even try. I think he had just given up that game and said he'd come back in the next game.
And now we see him looking better. We see him starting to move well, and I think we're going to see a turnaround in this game. I think we're going to see him back in there mentally.
The Caymanian support will ensure it. For Cumberbatch, he needs to remain focused. Won that second game. You want to keep the pressure on. The last thing he needs at this stage of the contest is to go 3-4 points behind. He's already 2 behind. Important point here.
Cumberbatch not clearing there again. But noticeably this time Julian played through the obstruction, went for the ball, and that was the right thing to do.
So I want you to notice that the ball is not getting past the middle line unless it is extremely tight. So both players are cutting off, they're not allowing the ball to pass to the back.
And that has the effect of putting your opponent under pressure. The earlier you play the ball, the quicker they have to recover.
Yeah, Jervis gets the stroke here. Cumberbatch can't believe it.
The right call, though. I think that was the right call.
Agreed.
But you see, though, both players are now making more of an effort to go for the ball.
Which is what we need. We need to see consistent squash. We need to see the points being played out, and we want to see the more athletic man win.
Yeah, we like a little fire, but what we don't like... Oh, that is a beautiful shot from Cumberbatch. Backhand overhead that he switched over to a forehand.
That was amazing.
Straight into the net.
That was beautiful. That was stylish.
Reminds me of you back in the day, Kat.
Thank you, my brother.
Well, he has style for sure. And he is still pumped up for this one.
And now he's gotten a little bit of momentum. So we're 3-2, 2-3, serving Kamal.
Both know they're in a contest here.
Yeah, and as you said, we hope they start to play, stop playing the referees and start to play a little more of the ball, because that's what we all want to see.
Nice and tight rally down on the side. Julian goes for the ropes and tins it.
Important recovery for Cumberbatch. back level in the third game.
You can get it right. You can get it right.
Beautiful lob from Kamal. Wonderful recovery from...
sorry, Kyle. He has him under heavy pressure in the back corner there, but he's gotten back into it now.
Kamal is really a master at pushing his opponent to the back of the court. But Julian's recoveries are amazing.
Yeah, you can see he's been training, he's very fit. But those heavy lunges into the front are going to get to him eventually.
And that was a wonderful point where Kamal broke him down and was able to just finish with a straight down the line on the backhand side.
Yeah, that's beautiful squash, tactical brilliance from Kamal Cumberbatch. That's his game, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. He's definitely a very tactical player, knows how to move his opponents well.
Pushes him forward, brings him forward, pushes him back.
And that is an excellent finish from Jervis there. Forehand overhead into the corner, into the nick.
Into the nick, as we love to call it.
Jervis knows what he's about though. And that is part of what makes this matchup such an intriguing one.
Jervis is a sharpshooter. He has beautiful shots. He knows how to get that ball into the nick. He knows how to hit the ball hard.
Yes, Let.
Cumberbatch playing the player there a little bit, I think, that had every opportunity to play that ball but decided to ask for the easy way out.
Which definitely has its place.
Wow.
Another beautiful backhand overhead into the nick off the serve.
So we're getting a fire show tonight. We're getting lots of fireworks. We're seeing some beautiful shots from both players. It's lovely.
And that backhand volley is working now for Cumberbatch. And it started again. Jervis is annoyed.
Yeah, and I think Julian got himself into a little trouble there. Played the ball loose. Cumberbatch played the ball and had every right to stay where he was. And Julian was forced to try and go through the player, but did not get the advantage that time.
Cumberbatch up by 2 in the third game of this semi-final. The winner to play Chris Binnie in the championship match on Tuesday.
You know what's interesting? I've seen Chris play games like this where they play against the ref, and you don't want to play that game with Chris.
Yeah, noticeably. And another call there, only a let this time for Cumberbatch. Noticeably, Chris's matches have been very clean this year. Not a lot of controversy, not a lot of calls to the ref. Just good, clean squash, and that's what we like to see. We like competitive, but we don't want to see argumentative.
Which is right.
There's a bit of everything in this one.
Definitely, and it's very entertaining for sure.
No let.
Beautiful shot from Kamal. No let for that one. It was a wonderfully placed backhand drop with great timing.
Yeah, and Jervis, I think, trying, hoping against hope that he could get a let call there, but no chance of getting to that one.
Has to be careful here, Jervis.
Especially now that he's behind. Wonderful shot from Jervis.
He's not asking.
Wonderful shot from Jervis.
He's not asking.
Nice clean winner down the line there from Jervis.
And as the head judge just said, he's not asking.
Yeah. She's no nonsense, isn't she?
I'm not sure what the argument is here. I'm not sure what he's asking for. And now we definitely see where he's wearing his frustration. Wearing your frustration doesn't help you out in the end.
Yeah, that there was nothing wrong from Cumberbatch there. Good clean movement out of the way. He cleared the way, gave the player every opportunity to get through. And you can see Jervis a little flustered again.
Oh, beautiful fast-paced killer from Kamal.
Yeah.
Sometimes when the pressure is increasing from your opponent as well, it can make you more frustrated, and it may seem like the calls, but it could really be the fact that we're seeing an improved Kamal Cumberbatch here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Kamal, it's only a 3-point lead, but he's in pretty good control of the game right now, and more importantly, in control of his emotions.
Down.
And Jervis hits one into the tin. That's another unforced error and a game ball for Kamal Cumberbatch.
Yeah, 4 game balls coming up.
And Jervis argued that call as well. Slight argument. Slight contestation.
Yeah, definitely plus that here.
Oh, beautiful front court pressure and beautiful love to get out of that pressure.
That is a perfect example of turning defense into offense.
That's right. Oh, beautiful.
Lovely hands, lovely deception there from Cumberbatch.
Yeah, he was down 3-love in this third game. Kamal Cumberbatch. He's found a way to turn it around, just like he's turned this match around. And the Barbadian with the lead here in Kingston. He's up by 2-1 over Julian Jervis of the Cayman Islands. Fourth game coming up in the second semi-final of the men's singles at the Caribbean Area Squash Championships at the Ligony Club. That man on screen, Kamal Cumberbatch, has turned this match around brilliantly. There have been controversial moments and both players contesting a few close calls, but Cumberbatch is the one who has been able to compose himself, and he has the 2-1 advantage in this match. Can Julian Jervis find a way to get back into this contest, having won the opening game, but he's been really bothered by a few of the calls and now has it all to do in this second semi-final?
Well, I just love to watch Kamal's lobs, man. The way he touches the ball and is able to just take the pace out of the ball and lob that ball high and out of the way is beautiful.
Yeah, he has excellent control, and it's not an easy shot to play.
And now we see that he's 2-love up. He's got the momentum. I think he's in a good position to move ahead.
Heading past 9 o'clock here in Jamaica. Heading up to 3 hours of semi-final action at the Caribbean Squash Championships.
And Jarvis getting the stroke there. I don't think he needed it, but he took the decision. He's gonna wait for the player to get near and call for that stroke.
Sometimes I wonder if it's because they don't want to run more. You think it's a matter of conditioning at this point?
Well, I know all about not wanting to run more. Definitely a good strategy when you're playing squash.
All level in this fourth game.
Jervis back into it.
Audience having a good time there, loving it. That was a cheap let, asking for a cheap let right there. Had to explain himself immediately because he knew it was a cheap let.
Not a good enough explanation though. He said he didn't know where he was.
So sometimes players will if they genuinely think they're going to hit their opponent, they'll ask for let for safety. But I think what we've seen is that they are making the calls here to get the advantage, not necessarily for safety.
And he gets a stroke immediately after, which I think could have been a let as well.
Not a handle.
Are you doubting head referee Karen Anderson?
Well, no. I would never say that out loud.
But this is Jervis now with the lead. Can he drive home this advantage?
You can hear you.
He's putting the pressure on again. He picked up the pace and he looks intense.
Stroke to Jervis.
And he is taking advantage of that one. A clear stroke, and he's emphasizing the point there.
Yeah, it seems he's most happy when he's winning the stroke game. And just to clarify for the viewers, sometimes a let can lean on the stroke side, sometimes a stroke can lean on the let side, and it really is down to the judgment.
He's got a good advantage here. 3 point, 6-2, 4 point advantage here, and he's got good momentum in this game.
Yeah, he's turning it around. A couple of calls going his way, a couple of good shots. No let called.
Julian.
And really drawing some frustration from Kamal now.
Stop. Excuse me, gentlemen.
And now we have to get some intervention from our judge.
Yeah, I think Karen is.
That is unnecessary, Julian. If it continues, I'm going to conduct stroke you. So ensure that it does not happen again.
Yeah, and you can
do
hear.
not open the door.
You can hear.
I am just stating clearly that you do not need to push the gentleman to get to the ball. Stop. It is a stroke, but I do not need you to push the gentleman to get to the ball. If it continues, it will be a conduct stroke. Understand? There will be no discussion. There is no discussion.
Well said from our judge, well said.
Yeah, and that's what this game needs sometimes. You need a referee who's going to be firm and not be bullied by the players. Julian making excessive contact there. There was, he got the call, but there was no need to tackle his opponent.
Well. Never a dull moment in this semi-final.
Yeah, well, we have to keep it sportsmanlike. Well, now let's see how Kamal responds to this situation. And
stroke to Cumberbatch.
Another loose one from Jervis there, and this time Cumberbatch takes the stroke. So a very, very competitive game here. Not free-flowing, but it definitely is competitive.
And for the viewers watching who have never played squash before, the ball is moving much faster than you think it is. When you're on the court, it's quite fast.
Excellent comeback there. Kamal seemed to be in control of the rally, moving his opponent around the place, and Julian out of nowhere pulled a winner.
Court cleaners.
And we see some athletics from Kamal in an attempt to get it back. A nice dive to the back. But now we have to take some time to mop up the court.
Yeah, that wet mark, could be a little slippery and be dangerous to the players, so they come in, do a quick cleanup and then continue.
And a round of applause for our mop man.
Well, he's live on Caribbean television.
That would be Brian, and he's been invaluable all week, helping out with the mopping, helping out with the maintenance. Excellent work from Brian there from Ligani Club.
Big up yourself, Brian.
I think you're gonna have to pay for that ad, Jervis with a shot at leveling this match. He's up 8-3 in the fourth game, down 2-1. The young Barbadian Cumberbatch still fighting though. Lost the opening game, Cumberbatch, but came back well, composed himself.
And now we see everything bothering Jervis. Jervis is complaining about noise in the crowd after losing a point.
Yes, squash has changed. There was a time when you had to be dead silent in the crowd, but I think we've gone past those days now, so you can expect a little bit of cheering and stuff during the points.
A little murmur. Again, we see Jervis playing very physically. He's moving Kamal every time that he goes to the ball.
to be fair to Julian, I think Kamal is clearing very slowly. He plays the ball and kind of stands where he is, so he doesn't give a lot of space to the opponent to get through, and he's obligated to make that space.
Quite so. That's beautiful lob from Julian. And now we're back down the backhand side. Very bad unforced area there.
Yeah, Jervis needs to cut those errors out. He has a good advantage. He's only 2 points away from leveling this at 2-all, and so he needs to keep steady and not be affected by the interplay between the two.
I can tell you that the crowd support is a lot more than it looks on television.
Yeah, I think we have about 100 spectators around there now.
Or more.
I'm being told it's far more than 100 spectators.
I think it is. I went around there, could hardly find space to conduct the interviews.
Yeah, you can see the crowd shots there. There's nowhere to go.
Jervis has to be careful here.
Oh, beautiful tight shot down on the forehand side.
Nice, fast-paced, tight to the sidewall, and the closer it is to the sidewall, obviously it's much harder for the opponent to get a good shot off.
And both these players have wonderful racket play. They have really extremely lovely ball control.
Game ball for Jervis.
No let, you've gone through.
So no let for Jervis there. On game ball to equalize.
Yeah, referee making the point that he got through despite the contact. He got through but chose not to play the shot.
3 more game balls.
Some extremely good recoveries just now from both parties. It's a nice long tight rally for the game point.
Oh yes, Julian Jervis levels in Kingston. Finds a way back after going down by 2-1. He wins the fight against himself, and we're going to a 5th.
I saw the wheel spinning on that one.
We've gone 5 in this second semi-final of the men's singles here at the Caribbean Senior Squash Championships. Julian Jervis of the Cayman Islands leveling this contest. It has been an intriguing one. Cumberbatch, there he is, went a game down. He fought back to go 2-1 up, and Jervis though has not let go, and now we are 1 game, winner takes all. Ricardo Chambers alongside Joe Levy and Carl Chin. And gentlemen, which way are you betting?
Well, it's going to be a close one. You can see Julian has the momentum, winning the last game. I was very pumped up at the end of that game. Kamal has been playing very well though, and Julian has been doing a lot of work. So can he last this 5th game?
You know, I'm going to put the game on Kamal. I'm going to bet on Kamal. I think he's put in the work. In boxing, we say you put in the work with the body shots. I think Kamal has put in the work with the leg work. He's moving him around the court a lot in this last 4 games.
Well, keep things interesting then. I'm going to go for Jervis. Determination, grit, and he's going to fight through.
And there we have it. 1 point for me.
Yeah, the main theme in this match, strokes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate you don't like to see too much of it, but you know, this is competitive and these guys are really fighting for their countries, fighting for themselves. They have an opportunity to get to a final of the Caribbean Championships, and it means a lot. It means a lot, and you can tell.
Especially for both who have been playing juniors and coming up the ranks to now be again competing for the men's championships on the Caribbean level. And we see Julian controlling the tee right now, in charge of this point. Kamal able to get him off the tee and move him around.
Working on the legs.
Yep, hard movements into the front and then push him immediately to the back. And you can see Julian is feeling it. But these guys are excellent athletes. He'll push through this.
Beautiful movement from Kamal again. Playing the ball, nice drop shots, and then moving it to the back of the court.
Yeah, in full control of the rally, and Julian showing his frustrations again. You see him having to move around, but that's caused because he's out of position. And Kamal is really controlling the court well now.
So again, we see Julian controlling pace, you know, keeping the pace high on the tee, and we're going to see if Kamal is able to slow the pace down. Oh, but a beautiful killer from Julian. Backhand nick.
And I think what you're seeing there is the effect when you start to feel a little more tired. You start to go for those winners, and it really came off nicely for him there.
You are right. You can see that it is an uncomfortable match for Julian Jervis. Probably because of how slowly Cumberbatch gets out of the way. But as you fight for a Caribbean Championship, you have to get over that at some point. You have to realize that this is now the 5th game. This is where it's at. This is where you have to leave everything on the court. And once again, the main theme pops up in this story.
Yeah, again, Julian running into Cumberbatch, but he gets away with it and gets an unforced error out of Cumberbatch there. So he's right back into it at 3-4, so it could go anyway now.
Again, we see the physicality. We see Julia moving him out of the way. I don't know if this call is going to work.
You get to the ball.
Yeah, Jervis gesticulating to the referee in the middle of the point there, and I think that threw Cumberbatch off, so they may have to replay this one.
Gentlemen.
So now we're having some conversations on the court, and what we don't want to see is arguments between the players. It's the last thing we want to see.
And these guys are good friends. I mean, they'll have a drink tomorrow and laugh it all off. But you know, the heat of the moment, heat of the competition.
Let's hope.
And I see the game's working for Julian. Now we've seen Julian able to equalize based on 2 points of argument and shoving.
Stop.
Yeah, it's working for him here, but he has to be careful because the referee is not going to give him 3 points.
Who wants it more? A place in the final awaits. A chance to play in what could be a historic Caribbean Championship final.
So I see now Kamal playing a faster point. He has to be careful. He has to be careful not to play Julian's game.
So you can see a little lag from Julian there, a little slow, little bump, and he just couldn't recover. He couldn't get through.
Yeah, well, the legs are feeling it. The legs are feeling it for sure. When I watch Julian, I'm reminded of the Raging Bull from Egypt. Top 10 squash player. Top 5 squash player. And I'm sure he's probably one of the guys that he emulates, going for those nicks and play the hard rallies.
Yes, let. Room to swing.
Yeah, I think Jervis expecting to get the point there, and the referee didn't play, asked for the let, and only got a let, so they'll replay that point. Critical time now with Cumberbatch up 5-4. It's a critical point.
The calls become even more match defining at this stage. Not a lot of room for error for either player.
Excellent recovery work from Julian here.
And now we're gonna see what's happening with the legs from both players.
That's big. That's big for Kamal Cumberbatch.
That's a tough rally. And he gets that lead at the midway point in the game. Could be critical.
Massive point for him. I will see a fist bump.
Yeah, a good recovery from Cumberbatch. He's very, very mobile. He plays a little slower, but he's very mobile. He's very quick around the court.
Yeah, he's opening up the advantage now. 3 points the difference. Kamal Cumberbatch must now be sensing his first senior Caribbean final. Still work to do.
Yes, let's.
Yeah, Jervis
I don't need to have a discussion, Julian.
Jervis won't go easily here, but unfortunately he's battling the referee instead of battling the player.
It's a let. 7-4.
Definitely a let. I'm not sure why he's arguing.
Pure frustration, I think.
Yeah.
Pressure is building.
But it didn't pay off. I think he can get back in the game. I think it's a matter of just refocusing, taking a second.
Question is, can he find the mental fortitude needed to do that right now? So much contention, most of it probably created, and Cumberbatch is locked in now and 2 points away from the Caribbean Championship final.
Yeah, you could see that one. The ball passed very close to him, and he made minimal effort. I think he's really feeling it physically now.
Yeah, I think the legs are definitely slowing down, feeling heavy. Oh, what a beautiful inside-outside shot from Kamal. That was lovely. Died in the back. It's a little trick shot that some people like to play. Definitely a flashy shot.
Cumberbatch arrives at match ball. An opportunity to clinch a spot into the championship match on Tuesday.
No let
called. And Kamal Cumberbatch of Barbados wins a contentious semi-final against the Caymanian Julian Jervis, and he celebrates his place into the Caribbean Championship final, where he will play Chris Binnie on Tuesday. His greatest test awaits, but for tonight the Barbadians celebrate. Sean Simpson, the coach, and the rest of the contingent, they have a man back in the big final at the CASA Senior Championship. What a performance, gentlemen, what a match. Julian Jervis took the early lead, but at the end of the day, Cumberbatch winning 6-11, 11-3, 11-6, 7-11, 11-4 to close out the contest.
Yeah, and a well-deserved victory by young Kamal Cumberbatch out of Trinity University. He played very well, and he deserves his spot in the final. He kept a cool head, and he stuck to his game plan, and he came out victorious.
Absolutely, and even though the match maybe fittingly ended on a no-let, but excellent match from both guys. Wonderful bracket work, wonderful movement on the court. We really got to see some tight squash.
Well, I said it earlier, I will say it again. It was a stroke-filled semi-final contest. Let's have a look at how things unfolded. Talk me through this one.
I would just say wonderful movement from both, keeping close to the tee and just able to cut the ball before it gets it to the background. And really, we see how fast-paced the match was, especially in the opening games. Both players were really cutting the ball off a lot.
Yeah, sometimes the squash was not the tightest, but it was competitive all the way through, and there were some brilliant shots. And I think, as I said before, Kamal really controlled the pace of the match. He dictated the pace to Julian, and there was that brilliant reverse overhead from the backhand to the forehand down into the nick.
Easily the most competitive match of the semi-final round, either on the women's side or the men's side, and the Cumberbatch giving it his all. Pointed out earlier, this is a young man who has won everything at the junior level, at every age group in the junior level. He steps up to the seniors, and he is into the championship match here at the Ligony Club in Kingston. There's a look at the female bracket. We had the semi-finals earlier on. Ashley Khalil, the #1 seed, will take on Taylor Fernandes in tomorrow's final. Now both players coming through without dropping a game in their semi-final 3-love. And there's the men's bracket. Chris Binnie of Jamaica, the #1 seed, looking for his 10th title on Tuesday. The first player to reach double digits in terms of number of titles won. And Kamal Cumberbatch, a man with tremendous talent, fighting through a tough semi-final, and will get a chance to meet Binnie in what could be a real cracker of a final come Tuesday. Yeah, well, there you have it. Kamal Cumberbatch winning in 5 over Julian Jervis of the Cayman Islands, and the Barbadian will play Chris Binnie in the championship match on Tuesday. And we have Kamal Cumberbatch here with us. Kamal, that was quite a match. From your standpoint, just assess it for me.
I mean, it was a tough match physically. It was a lot of, it's a genuinely physical game. He's a lot older. I would say he has 5 years or so. So I knew that I was going to really have to bring it physically.
A lot of calls that probably Julian didn't like, a lot of strokes in that match, a lot of lets in that match. Talk to me about how you were able to move past that and regain your focus on a couple of occasions to come through with the win.
I mean, I've been playing squash for a good long time. I mean, I've felt under that pressure before. This is a big stage, so you can't allow calls and stuff to get in your way.
How did you feel about many of those calls?
I mean, I didn't think that they went in my way personally, but you have to play through it regardless. The referee makes their decision and you have to go along with it.
Well, let's focus on the fact that you're now in a senior final. You've won everything at the junior level. Now you step up to the big times and you continue to play great squash. You're in the final. You play Chris Binnie tomorrow. How much are you looking forward to that?
No, I mean, I'm super excited. Chris, I've looked up to him a long time. He went to Trinity College where I'm currently at, so there's quite a bit of rivalry there. Future versus past. So, I mean, I'm excited to it.
And how do you, I mean, clearly this is a wonderful achievement, getting to the final. How significant is this for you that you came in as the number 2 seed and you've been able to at least honor that seeding?
I mean, I've heard a lot of talk. People didn't think maybe he's too young to be a number 2 seed, but I personally came here to back it up. I know I'll put in the work and I came here to show it.
Well, congratulations. Great job on getting to the final, and we'll see what happens tomorrow against Chris Binnie.
Thank you very much.
All right, Kamal Cumberbatch there through to the final of the Caribbean Squash Championships in the men's singles. And we also have Julian Jervis with us. Julian, what a match. Contentious in many ways. Talk to me about what was going on in that head of yours throughout those 5 games.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I do feel as though I was being treated like I was being hard done by. That's nothing against Karen. I don't think she was doing it maliciously, but I feel as though the calls were somewhat, it felt as though there was a narrative being pushed that I was being too aggressive maybe. But I was genuinely trying to get through to the ball, and when I wasn't trying to get through to the ball, I was when I wasn't pushing for it, I was being given no lets, so I didn't really know what to do, and that kind of scrambled my brain a little bit, but I don't take that as an excuse. I feel like the championship mindset is that, you have to be able to battle through things like that. Unfortunately, I did feel as though I was playing against 2 people there, the referee and the player, but that's something that I just have to be able to overcome, so I don't use that as an excuse. Kamal played really well. Yeah, I'm disappointed, but take it and move forward.
Yeah, clearly there were some issues, no doubt about that. But let's talk about when you level the match at 2 games all, yes, and you get into the fifth game. What was the mindset at that stage, and how did that differ from how that final game played out?
So I feel as though I had the momentum most definitely going into that 5th game as well, because I mean, the game finished 11-7 in the 4th, but I think I was up maybe 8-2 or 8-3 at some point in that game. I felt that I was really controlling him down the backhand side of the court. He was making quite a few errors down that side when I was keeping him under pressure, so I thought I was actually feeling quite comfortable, to be honest, going into that 5th game. But like I said, because the way I threw the 2nd game, that kind of mentality was sticking around inside. It was lingering in my head, and it was really hard to overcome it. It might have looked like I was tired out there, but I genuinely was just battling myself, battling my demons in my head. And so when that 5th game started, the first couple of points, within the first 3 points, there was a call given that I disagreed with, and it put me right back in that mindset. So that game, it felt as though it was just like me trying to recapture my focus constantly. I feel as though I was able to string together a couple of good points, but it wasn't enough in the end,
Yeah, there was a great opportunity here to get through to the championship match. How disappointed are you that you were not able to grab it?
I'm gutted. I'm heartbroken, to be honest. I came into this tournament with a chip on my shoulder because I did feel as though I was supposed to be the number 2 seed, because I beat Kamal in the team event of the previous CASA back in 2019. I didn't really understand the grounds for making him number 2 seed over me, so I came in with that chip on my shoulder, but I feel it played to my detriment throughout the tournament, to be honest, because I constantly felt, because I did make a little bit of a qualm about it, I feel like I had to prove myself afterward. And those nerves really got to me a little bit, and I think that's probably why I was a little bit overly aggressive at times. I did apologize to Kamal. I didn't like pushing through him. I'm not that kind of player. It's not in my character. But yeah, I really wanted this. I thought this was a really good opportunity to make it through to the finals. I'm disappointed in myself, and I feel bad for my country. I really wanted to give this to them. Cameron Stafford's been doing it for us for so long, and this one time that he's not in, I really wanted to show that like somebody else could do it for him. But again, I just have to take it on the chin and move forward. There will be a lot of CASAs coming forward. I'm only 24, so still have more opportunities to get through.
Yeah, you're right. You're only 24. A lot more opportunities. We wish you all the very best going forward, Julian, and we know you're a good guy.
Thank you, man.
All right, Julian Jervis there, not making it to the final of the men's singles. That honor goes to the Barbadian Kamal Cumberbatch. He is through to the championship match. He will play Chris Binnie on Tuesday in the men's final. The women's final will also be on Tuesday. Two Guyanese in that final. Taylor Fernandes, unseeded, coming in, and the number 1 seed Ashley Khalil as well. That's how we wrap up from the Ligani Club in Kingston on day number 2 of the Caribbean Senior Squash Championships. We'll be back with action tomorrow, third place playoffs and the finals of women's and men's singles. Be sure to join us at 4:30 p.m. Jamaica time, 5:30 in the rest of the Caribbean on SportsMax 2.